India Anil Suklal at an event in India 2 months ago. Suklal's presence there was widely criticized, sparking public backlash. Minister Ronald Lamola yesterday announced that Suklal has been called back to Pretoria to explain himself. Thabiso Goba has more.
In July last year, former state's President Jacob Zuma had the International Relations Department scrambling when he visited Morocco. Zuma held a joint media briefing with Morocco's foreign minister, displaying the South African flag behind him and controversially backing the country's claim of Western Sahara, a position that is at odds with South Africa's foreign policy. While he didn't mention Zuma's name specifically, Foreign Relations Minister Ronald Lamola says under the new disclosure mechanism, former presidents traveling out of the country that are seeking diplomatic support will have to provide their full itinerary and purpose of their trip.
To enable an informed assessment of the appropriate level of support required and any associated reputational, political and diplomatic or security risks that may be involved. This will help us avoid a situation where former presidents portray themselves as also representing South Africa's foreign policy, particularly when they have not been mandated by the sitting head of state.
Through the MK party, Zuma has defended the India trip, saying it was a private excursion to visit an old friend. Thabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
And the Nigerian government has announced the release of more than 300 kidnapped victims, including 163 taken from a single village in the west of the country earlier this year. Kidnapping for ransom by criminal groups, jihadists and non-ideological gangs known as bandits have become a major crisis in Nigeria. Earlier this year, suspected jihadists attacked the village of Woro in Kwara State near the border with Benin, killing more than 150 people and kidnapping roughly the same amount. The victims were rescued from a location in the Kainjani Lake National Park Forest that's believed to be one of the hideouts for Nigerian criminal groups. Gold is trading at $4,247.02 an ounce. The rand is at 16.33 to the dollar, 21.99 to the pound, 18.87 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $79.56 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North. This is between the Elands interchange and the Kilulis interchange. That's due to roadworks. The N12 West is also backed up as a result. And then if you are traveling in Eldorado Park, do expect delays on the Golden Highway between Union Street and East Street.
And in your sport, Gianni Infantino holds on to his job as FIFA president. Malawi and Nigeria are through to the WAFCON quarterfinals as Zambia were sent home on goal difference. And the All Blacks to be led by Patrick Tuapalato against the Stormers on Friday in a side that includes Bowden Barrett.
A fine day in store for Gauteng, Johannesburg starting at 4 degrees, peaking at 23, Pretoria 6 and 25, Vereeniging 5 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi and 4 others are expected to appear in the Brakpan Magistrates Court this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
6 minutes after 6 o'clock on this Thursday, the 6th of August, the year of our Lord 2026. I wonder if there's anything in the number 6 at this time. Maybe as you place your lotto bets, you could think of the number 6. Maybe it means something, maybe it does not. On our menu today, it's the big story in sport at the moment. What happens next to FIFA? What happens next to Gianni Infantino? He's certainly on the ropes. Many associations around the world saying perhaps it is time for this man to go. But is that necessarily all new? Remember FIFA under Sepp Blatter. Remember FIFA under Joao, what was his name? Joao Huffinger. I think wasn't Huffinger. Huffinger feels like a very South African name. But we've seen this kind of movie before, right? The name of the former Brazilian head of FIFA has completely gone out of my mind. Havelang, that's his name. Joao Havelang. It was corrupt then. It was corrupt under Sepp Blatter. So what's new? Where is CAF on this? And should CAF have a voice? We'll put all those questions to the author and veteran football journalist, Kevin McCullum. And then we speak to the CEO and publisher of the Daily Maverick. South African newsrooms are not shredding paper these days. They're shredding jobs. They're shredding people. Increasingly, if most people's source or primary source of information is social media, what will that mean for our democracy?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
And just before 9, if you want to have a party, if you want to have a vibe, we'll tell you about what's happening on Main Street Sundays this Sunday. Of course, as Joburg tries to reclaim streets for the people and not for cars. We'll speak to Dawn Robertson from Josie My Josie. Creative Economy Catalyst is her job title. What's yours?
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
As always, of course, I'm not alone in the studio. I've got a team of colleagues behind the scenes who help put the show together, from the producers this morning, Siam Tanda and Bapelile. And of course, we've got Muteo and Amo with us here in the studio. A very good morning to you two.
Morning, Bongs.
I have a question for you. I'll shout out something to illustrate something in the news that we think you need to know about. All right? Mm-hmm. I want to know, have you ever accidentally thrown away or lost something of value and kicked yourself for doing so? Did you manage to get it back, or was it gone forever? Maybe you tossed cash into the bin thinking it was just a receipt or a piece of paper, or maybe you left money in your clothing and it all got messed up in the washing machine. A receipt that you left somewhere and you could never find, and therefore you could never claim for whatever expense it may be. A phone you forgot in the toilet that you never received back, or lost your keys, maybe whilst out on a run. I told Africa Melane the story of being invited to a braai at the Cradle of Mankind, one of those small holding plots, visiting some friends of mine. The kids were there, we were playing with their dogs, and there were horses, and it was just a lovely, lovely afternoon until it was time to leave. And I couldn't find my keys. And one of my kids had asked for the car keys earlier to go put something in the car or fetch something from the car. And then there was a whole dispute about whether the keys had been given back to me or not. And there were tears and trana. Voices may have been raised. Fingers may have been wagged. But it was a whole hadunta because I didn't know where my spare key for the particular vehicle was. And so we had to get a lift from some other guests that were at this braai to take us home. Then a few days later, the car had to be towed from this point and brought in, and they had to do a whole diagnostic thing, and the key had to be remade from Germany at the low, low cost, yes. So it didn't help that many months later, the key was found at the farm, nicely tucked in under a rock. And nobody could explain. It is a miracle. Nobody knows how it got there. That's my story. I have a few others. I have left a phone in the toilet.
Yeah.
In a public toilet. It was a Nokia 2010.
Did you get it back?
No.
Oh.
No. Anything of value you ever lost accidentally? Kicked yourself for doing so?
My
did you get it back?
sunglasses.
Ooh.
I'd worked so hard for those sunglasses. I'd worked so hard. I was doing promotions then. I can't remember what we were promoting, but I was one of those girls who was giving out pamphlets and talking about the upcoming event. And so I earned this money, and there was a big sale at the Southgate Mall for this specific brand. And I went and I bought myself a pair. I think at that time it was around between 1,000 and 800 rand. So, as a young person who didn't have a job then, and this is the only thing you want to buy, you can really imagine.
How'd you lose them?
In a taxi. They fell out. They slipped out of my bag I don't know what I was doing, but when I got out of the taxi and I wanted to put them on, they weren't there.
How do you know somebody didn't slip their finger into your bag?
I doubt, because the way I was sitting, I doubt. I think they just fell
out.
Yeah.
I have a sunglass story.
Mm-hmm.
Again, university student. I'm doing some TV program and they sponsor us with clothes and I get Ray-Ban sunglasses.
Yeah, those were my sunglasses.
Ray-Ban sunglasses. Long story, we're at the beach with some friends, and of course you've got to look cool. You're at the beach. What would you not do but put on sunglasses?
Yeah.
My friend warns me that if I go into the ocean with these things, they're going to slip off and fall. Do you think Bongani listen? Well, somewhere on the Indian Ocean is a pair of sunglasses. If you ever find Ray-Bans in Durban, bring them to me. Muteo?
I hate telling the story. It was a large sum of money. And I lost the money during a move that we were doing. We were moving from one place to another. I'd kept a big stash of cash at the house. And
how much? And
it was $1,000.
Ooh.
I can't remember what the exchange rate was. I think 15 to the dollar or something at the time. So 16,000 rand around there.
Why had you kept it in cash?
I always do something like that.
Oh. How much are you keeping now?
No, those days are gone.
Where do you live?
Let me tell you what the big fight was. My wife didn't know about this. So I only told her that I'd lost the money after obviously having tried to find it. And she was like, we're not doing that anymore. So no. I don't keep a stash.
And she knows about the story, right?
Yes, she does.
It's not
she
the
does.
first time she's
Which
finding out.
That's why I don't like telling the story, because then it starts the whole thing all over again.
You see, the hurt becomes fresh. All right, lost some money, lost an item that was valuable. Maybe you were an idiot. Maybe you were just careless or distracted. And were you able to get it back? We'll tell you why we're asking. Coming up.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa is brought to you by BCX, helping South African organizations turn cloud, data, and AI investments into faster decisions, smarter operations, and measurable business outcomes.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
Coming up, an interview with Kevin McCullum about the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, who's now seriously under pressure. I want you to listen to the Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, saying he no longer has confidence in Infantino. He was asked about the FIFA controversy this after Infantino proposed moving key World Cup commercial operations into a new entity and selling a stake in that entity to private investors. The plan, of course, has since been abandoned after fierce opposition from football bodies, including UEFA, and criticism over Infantino's failure to properly consult senior advisors and FIFA leadership. Carney has called it a fatal governance flaw.
I've run a few organizations in my time. The idea that proper governance is not to disclose to your closest advisors, your chief operating officer, your fellow board members, something of consequence that you're even considering, let alone proposing, that's fatal, should be fatal. And you lose confidence in that individual. They have their own procedures for making those determinations, but certainly I don't have confidence in Mr. Infantino after this point. Given what transpired and given the nature of what transpired. Look, I'll give you an example. Carlos Cordero is someone I've known for more than 3 decades, very high integrity individual, and he was his advisor and had expertise in all the aspects of what was proposed, and he was not consulted. This is not how you run any business, a small business, let alone something that is a global responsibility like football.
We're talking, of course, about a $20 billion plan, and most of Infantino's inner circle had no idea that this was afoot. What does that tell you about what was really happening behind the scenes?
702.
More than a radio station.
Let's walk the talk.
17 after 6, Muteo Kharipa, you've got a question of your own?
Yeah, I want to know from you and the 702 landers this morning, are you deliberate? Are you picky when it comes to the people that make up your social circle?
It's always a tricky one, right? In many respects, I'm not. In many respects, I'm usually able to be friends with just about anyone, but there is a values thing.
Yeah.
There is a values thing increasingly as I get older. I refuse to be friends with homophobes. I refuse to be friends with Zionists. There are certain principles that you just stick to. I refuse to be friends with racists.
Yeah.
I refuse to be friends with, anybody who's accused of gender-based violence. So it's more of a values thing rather than, say, class or background or education or job or whatever.
Yeah, so the values have
The
to
values
align.
matter, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not picky at all. I'm not. But sometimes I can see why the friendship would not work out because of not necessarily values, but where we find ourselves in our lives. For instance, if I'm unable to make half of the meetings because I've got kids and you don't have kids,
Like lifestyle differences.
lifestyle differences can easily be a hindrance towards a successful friendship.
Are you picky, Mateo?
I don't think I am, but we have to get along. And you have to be a decent person. I can't use the word on radio, but you have to be a decent person.
What's the word you can't use on radio?
You have to be a decent person.
702.
Weather.
What conditions can we expect on this Thursday? A fine day for Gauteng, temperatures peaking at a lovely 23 degrees. This is for both Joburg and Vereeniging. Pretoria will max at 25. Cape Town, it's a miserable 15 degrees with scattered showers and rain this morning. Mahikeng, 25. Gqeberha, 20. Kukombo City, 21. Durban, 27.
EWN Traffic.
Let's have a first look at the roads. I'm at 19 after 6. What are you seeing?
Well, Bongani, we've got heavy delays already on the N3 North between the Earlands interchange and the Giluli's turnoff. There's also queuing traffic reported on the Mike 1 North between Boyson's Road and Car Street. Then if you're leaving Soweto, do be on the lookout for some delays that are reported along the Soweto Highway Circle, Klipspit Valley Road. Then there's also queuing traffic in Eldorado Park on on the Golden Highway. This is between Union Avenue and the East Street exit. That's due to roadworks taking place there, so please approach with care. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Your office is more than just a place to work. It's a reflection of your success. At Desk and Chair, we help you elevate your workspace with locally manufactured desks and a wide range of chairs to suit your style and budget. Our expert consultants are with you every step of the way, from planning to delivery and assembly. Visit our showroom in Midrand or shop online at deskandchair.co.za. Desk and Chair. Think, feel, work better.
Cutting costs means more money for your business. Switch to Outsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Here's Marshall from Bow Electrical.
I was with my other insurance for many years and then I switched to Outsurance Business Insurance. It was a one quick call. They gave me a great cover and a great price. Give them a call. You have nothing to lose. I wish I have switched sooner.
Get a quote to switch and save today. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 0800 60,000. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Hey guys, this is Robert Marawa, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. Playing responsibly is part of the winning strategy. Make smart choices and continue to score. If you or someone that you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counseling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
702.
Add your voice.
Have your say.
Let's walk the talk.
Taking your calls on 011 883 0702, your WhatsApp voice notes on 072 702 1702. We're asking you a very simple question. Have you lost anything of value in a moment of carelessness? And were you able to get it back?
Bongani, hey Baba. Speaking of throwing something away, I once threw my Hollywood voucher, thinking it's just a receipt, an old receipt, and then I threw it away at around. It was late. The game was about to close, eh? And then guess what? The numbers that I wanted to play the following day, they came out. It's Enzo from Shawel.
Hi Bongani, good morning all. I always wanted to leave a message, guys. I always lose my phone at work in the bathroom. So luckily they don't steal. Whoever has the phone, when I call they answer. And then I go and get my phone. But then I'm just scared that I won't be lucky next time. So to be safe, when I go to the bathroom, I leave it in my office. Bye.
That's exactly what I was going to suggest you do. That's exactly what I was going to suggest you do. Yeah, what's the most valuable thing you have lost in a moment of carelessness, and were you able to get it back?
The other caller is too calm for having lost out on the lotto. It's just like, yeah, well.
Yeah, what do you do?
You cry.
All these years later.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
All right, you heard the story in Eyewitness News at the top of the hour. DIRCO, the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, is now introducing a new framework to regulate the international travel of former presidents and deputy presidents who request diplomatic or protocol support from the government. It follows a diplomatic controversy after the South African High Commissioner to India, Anil Suklal, was photographed with former President Jacob Zuma and Gupta family member AJ Gupta at a religious event in India. Suklal has since been recalled to Pretoria to explain himself, and DIRCO Minister Ronald Lamola says former presidents and deputy presidents will now be required to disclose details of their overseas trips, including the purpose of their visit, the itinerary and who's funding the trip, who's hosting them, and the capacity in which they are traveling. Lamola stressing that that framework aims to assess any potential diplomatic or security risks. A routine story at a lottery terminal turned into a €1 million nightmare for one man in Italy. So after he scanned his ticket at a local shop, the machine there flashed the words, "Not payable." So he flashed it, he thought, see, and the thing said not payable. So then he thought it was worthless, and he tossed it into the bin and walked away. But there was one problem. The ticket he'd just thrown away had won €1 million. So what happened was, because it was of so much value, the kiosk where he went to said not payable, because obviously the little vendor at the shop couldn't pay him €1 million. And he thought not payable meant not worth anything. But when he checked the numbers, he thought, but that's my ticket. So it was a whole frantic search. I think they had to go through something like 6 tons of rubbish. They had to follow where the rubbish collectors had gone to pick up. It was a whole thing. But they found it. They found it. Oh. Adam Gilchrist will tell us more in the Worldview in about 2 hours' time. That's why we've been asking that question about something valuable you lost carelessly. South Africa's next big threat may not come with sirens or soldiers. It could come from a single click. According to Interpol, we are becoming one of the biggest cybercrime targets on the continent, facing far more attacks than most African countries. As one of Africa's leading financial and digital hubs, we have become a major magnet for cyber criminals, with ransomware gangs and hackers launching disruptive denial-of-service attacks at an alarming rate. And it's a reminder that in today's world, some of the biggest battles are being fought behind computer screens. Oh man, on this day 2 years ago, 2024, we all bid farewell to one of our beloved stars. The veteran actress uOskoni Chueme passed away at the age of 72 following a medical procedure. She was an award-winning performer. You remember, of course, her appearance in Black Panther, in Rhythm City, in Zone 14, in Gomorrah. And on this day in 2016, the singer Sia and Sean John climbed #1 on the Billboard charts with their smash hit, Cheap Thrills.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Friday night and I won't be long. Gotta do my hair, put my makeup on. It's Friday night and I won't be long till I hit the dance floor, hit the dance floor. I got all I need. No, I ain't got cash, but I got you, baby.
Just you,
baby. I don't need dollar bills to have fun tonight. Baby, I don't need dollar bills to have fun tonight. I don't need.
Oh, where were you 10 years ago? What were you doing 10 years ago? Finishing primary school? It's a joke, my darling. What a joke.
702.
The newspapers.
Svisa Zulu, a very good morning to
Morning,
you.
Bongani.
You don't lose anything, of course, because you're just very careful and disciplined and mature and
That's not
the adult
true.
in the room.
That's not true. My mom will tell you a different story, but anyway. Bongani, I'm looking at a story this morning about Afghanistan's women's football team that has reunited for the first time since being banned from the sports at home. FIFA ruled earlier this year that the team made out of players now living in different parts of the world in exile, essentially, in official matches. They can now continue playing together after the Taliban banned them. So this week they traveled to New Zealand to play together. So they were seeing each other for the first time after a very, very long time. So so now they can continue playing as a team representing Afghanistan.
The front page of the Business Day is all about the Defense Department needing 9 billion rand to keep going, but also the story we are covering after 7 o'clock. South Africa's media industry dealt another blow with one of the country's leading 24-hour television news stations announcing it would cut half of its workforce by the end of the year. ENCA, of course, making this announcement. It's a little one. It's one that's going to be a little hard to swallow. Its CEO, Khalik Sharif, took home 19 million rand in the most recent financial year, but there are culling jobs. The story I want you to pay attention to, though, is in the Sowetan this morning. The Free State Police are urging the public to help look for a man who, with a friend, allegedly swindled his girlfriend out of 290,000 rand and then disappeared. The woman realized she'd been defrauded after allegedly calling her partner and the friend for 2 weeks but not getting through. The perpetrators are identified as Sharif Joseph Lobato and Maurice Mulindra. And they're saying the man convinced his girlfriend to make a financial investment whose return was expected to be 1.2 million rand. Have you ever given a lover or a partner something of value that you wish you could get back? Was it a sum of money?
My
was
heart.
it clothes? It was my heart. And that's the most precious of all, isn't it? Sfisa Zulu. An expensive watch, a piece of jewelry, something you gave because you were in love and you wish they would bring it back. Let us know. You can even send us a voice note anonymously.
EWN Business.
Mateo wants to know, what requirements must people meet in order to be your friend? Are you very open-minded? It doesn't matter about social standing. Are you a values-based person? What prompts the question, Mateo?
Bongani, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange is currently courting and trying to attract a big fish to the local bourse. One of the most anticipated listings on the continent is that of major Nigerian oil firm Dangote Refinery. Now, the JSE is bidding to secure a secondary listing of the Dangote Refinery business after the company's planned initial public offering on the Nigerian exchange later this year. JSE Chief Executive Officer Valdine Reddy told CNBC Africa that the Aliko Dangote-controlled refinery forms part of a robust pipeline of potential listings expected on the JSE this year. This spanning different companies from different industries and mining, fintech, property and construction. The refinery's listing, reportedly valued at around $5 billion or more than 81 billion rand, is expected to be the largest public offering ever undertaken on the continent. The planned listing has drawn attention from other exchanges across the continent, including Kenya, Egypt, Ghana, and Rwanda. Dangote Refinery has emerged as a major force in the global fuel markets since commencing operations in 2024. The company benefiting from disruptions to global energy supply chains, expanding sales and refined products, including jet fuel, into African and European markets. This year, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange implemented major simplification projects, cutting the listing rulebook down significantly to try and attract more companies. A notable listing this year has been that of Canal Plus, a secondary listing that happened in June. Now, lower thresholds to entering the JSE includes shareholder approval for general share issuances, for cash drop from 75% down to a simple majority of just 50+1. The rulebook has been cut down from roughly 450 pages to under 180 pages, and it hopes that this is one of the things that will attract Dangote Refinery to our local market.
All right. Is the rand also being cut?
Flat at this hour, 16 Rand 34 against the US dollar, 18 Rand 87 against the euro, and 21 Rand 99 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,265 an ounce, or platinum is up 1% at $1,763. While that Brent crude is at $79 a barrel. More business after 7.
Coming up next, is Infantino a cat with 9 lives? Or are we about to reshape world football? In the meantime, Swisa Zulu, what you got?
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. President Cyril Ramaphosa's lawyers are arguing for the Expropriation Act to remain in force despite a defect in one of its provisions. The president's legal team yesterday asked the Western Cape High Court to reject challenges to the law brought by the DA and Afrikaans lobby group AfriForum and other organizations. Ramaphosa's lawyers are set to argue that any problematic wording in the act can be corrected through a targeted court-ordered remedy without striking down the legislation. Carlo Peterson reports.
The president has conceded a section of the act dealing with compensation disputes contains an error that creates a circular process. However, lawyers for the presidency are set to argue the flaw can be fixed by reading additional wording into the act rather than declaring parts of it invalid. Senior counsel for the president, Ngwako Mayaneche, yesterday defended provisions that allow for null compensation in certain expropriation cases.
It may be just and equitable for nil compensation to be paid where land is expropriated in the public interest, that is, for land reform basically.
Arguments by the Speaker of the National Assembly and Land Reform Minister's legal teams are expected when the matter resumes today. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
The DA in Gauteng says the provincial legislature's speaker's visit to Venezuela, which reportedly cost taxpayers around 5.9 million rand, was a slap in the face to residents facing basic service delivery challenges. The party has submitted a motion to censure against Morokane Mosupye, accusing her of wasting public funds on the controversial trip late last year. The journey allegedly involved excessive spending, including accommodation and daily allowances. The DA Solim Simanga says the speaker must be held accountable.
Why is that the case? And now this is the question that we are now asking of the speaker. The legislature now must debate this and make sure that these kind of things don't happen going forward. And this is why we are submitting the motion of censure.
The high cost of living in Cape Town has come under scrutiny in the Western Cape Provincial Parliament, with Treasury warning that many households are becoming poorer despite the metro's economic growth. The concerns emerged during the presentation of the Western Cape Treasury's Municipal Economic Review and Outlook yesterday. The review shows that Cape Town generated 72% of the Western Cape economy during the period and accounted for nearly 2/3 of all jobs in the province. But Treasury economist Ashley Rasool says the city has recorded the fastest decline in GDP per capita income of any municipality in the province over the past decade.
There are businesses looking for skilled workers, but if you're not skilled, you're unemployable. So that's your soft. Your hard is your hard infrastructure. Is your public transport system connecting communities. Councillor puts up his hand. No, he wants a housing development over there. He promised it. Fine, take your housing development over there. What happened? It gets passed off in council. They've built that housing development on the east end of the town. There's no public transport network to connect that back to the economic nodes.
And a drone carrying an explosive device has been found in a German airport. A robot was deployed at Lipsk Haley Airport after the device was spotted by an employee near Ukrainian cargo planes overnight. Police say a second unidentified object also collided with a cargo aircraft near the same airport, but it landed in Hanover with minor damage. German airports are on high alert following several unauthorized drone flights in recent months over military bases, airports, energy terminals, seaports and logistics companies. Police have warned of a potential Russian involvement, which Moscow has denied. A fine day in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures are at lows of 4 and 6 degrees, peaking at highs between 23 and 25.
And in the traffic, we've got roadworks on the N1 South after Allendale Road. This is just as you leave Midrand. This is causing delays towards the Buccleuch interchange. While traveling on the N3 North, we still have got a bit of a stop-and-go situation between the Elands interchange and Van Buren Road due to more roadworks.
The top story this hour, President Cyril Ramaphosa's lawyers are arguing for the Expropriation Act to remain in force despite a defect in one of its provisions.
Cloud adoption is no longer the differentiator. business value is today's leading organizations need more than technology platforms. They need better visibility, faster decision making, and the agility to respond to change. BCX connects cloud, cybersecurity, managed services, AI, and trusted telecom business connectivity into one intelligent ecosystem that helps organizations improve operational performance, strengthen resilience, and create measurable business outcomes. BCX, connected multi-cloud, intelligent business. BCX enables businesses. Visit bcx.co.za.
So the other day I get this call from an insurance company. The lady asked me if I'm comfortable with my excess. I said, excess? Well, according to my therapist, I'm apparently a little too comfortable. But sometimes you just need to make sure. You know what I mean? She just put down the phone. I don't get it.
Don't get that insurance. Get Pineapple. It's easy to get and online. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. T's and C's apply.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Hi, Bongani. I had two little identical boxes in which I kept my rings. I was doing a big tidy out. I knew the one was slightly broken, so I threw it away. Only to discover that I'd thrown away the one with the rings, my wedding ring, and 3 other valuable rings, and I'd kept the one which was actually empty. So all I can hope is that some rubbish picker on one of the dumps found the rings and it changed their lives. I was completely devastated by that.
Bongo 702 lenders, happy Thursday. Gosh, don't remind me. My earlier days of my career, I was an intern at the airport using a train, railway train. Just bought myself a 3310 Bongani, the blue in color, put it in my handbag, get into the train, and start singing, you know, those changes in the train and stuff like that. I get off the train, so ready to show my mom the cell phone. And as I get off, I hear the ringtone similar to it somewhere. And I look back and I look in my bag, my phone is gone. The guys that I was working with, they say, just don't go to that person because you just never know if it is actually your phone. I was so upset. I was so disappointed. From that day onward, I started saving for my first car, which was a Trez. I said, no more, ever, you know. So we learned as we go. Thanks for a great show, Shadi, Kempton Park.
Good morning, Bongs on the team. Ishmael here in Tokyo still. Yeah, I lost my car license disc. So I just collected it from the post office and then I went to Shisanyama and then I left the file on top of the table. Then I came back and checked, there was nothing. So what I did, I drove the car the whole year without a disc. Yes, the cops stops me here and there, and I must confess, I bought drink here and there. But, thanks.
Well, presumably you wouldn't even pay that much to get a new disc, right? Because you would have already paid to renew it, to get a valid one. You're just putting yourself through all of that trouble for no reason. Just go to the licensing department and get a new disc. It's that simple. We're talking about things that you've lost, valuables, some more valuable than others. In a moment of carelessness, did you get it back? Did you regret it? Let us know.
Yo, Mr. Matteo Ramaphosa, are you sure did you check the couch? Maybe those dollars are still in the couch. Maybe you should check your couch again. Yo. From Rustenburg.
EWN Sport.
Cindy wasn't in the studio and Muteo told the story. A younger version of Muteo, Cindy, lost $1,000.
Yo!
That he kept in a couch. Well, no, he didn't say he kept it on a couch. They were moving house.
Well, if he knew where it was, it wouldn't be lost, right?
You can see how people are reminded of another person who kept dollars in his home.
And somebody else will phone in and say, you'll never believe what I found in this house that I moved into, $1,000.
$1,000.
Just on the disc situation, Bongani, that person that said they lost their disc or whatever. It's so easy these days, right, to get your disc. I mean, like FNB, you can do it on the app and they deliver it to your house. That's how easy it is. And people don't realize that if your disc has expired and you are in a car accident, you are not insured.
Yep.
End of story. There we go. Public service announcement.
But in this case, the disc hasn't even expired. He went to go renew it, got the paper, lost the paper.
Doesn't matter.
So if you don't have a valid disc
unless
on
you
your
can prove
car,
it, unless you can prove it, you're not insured. The insurance will fight you.
Oh, be
there you
very
go.
careful.
There you go.
There's a reason to be motivated.
Well, motivation
Yeah, exactly.
At FIFA. Gianni Infantino keeping his job. He's going to stay on as president because a crisis meeting was held yesterday and the management board all voted in his favor. Infantino was asked to resign after his proposal to sell the World Cup to private investors was leaked. It was exposed that national associations were not consulted with little time to vote on the proposal and promised a 672 million rand incentive. Infantino apologized in a letter but also stated FIFA will no longer tolerate any attacks on its integrity, good governance, and duty and processes, and will take measures to protect and safeguard its reputation.
So he's fighting back.
Do you believe it?
Yeah, he's fighting back. He's not going anywhere.
Imagine having to release a statement to say we will no longer allow you to speak about our like how we do things and our integrity. Just we'll take action against you. Right. At WAFCON, this is heartbreak for Zambia. They beat Malawi 2-1. But was still eliminated on head-to-head goals scored after Nigeria thrashed Egypt 6-2. So Zambia celebrated, only to be told by officials that Malawi's second-half consolation goal had dumped them out. And Nigeria, Zambia, and Malawi had all finished top of the group on 6 points.
Shame, man.
It's a South African tale, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mathematically speaking.
Yeah.
Newcastle have appointed Matthias Gisel as manager, replacing Eddie Howe, who resigned. Newcastle paid 209 million rand compensation to Saudi Saad Al Ahly to appoint Gisel on a 4-year deal. While Arsenal reached a deal to sign Newcastle captain Bruno Guimaraes, the Gunners agreeing on the 1.5 billion rand fee. Last night, Arsenal lost to Real Betis 3-1 in a pre-season friendly. Springboks are in Buenos Aires preparing to take on Argentina in a one-off test this weekend. Here's Flanker Arreglo.
Yeah, obviously we know Argentina is a real quality side, and I think we learned our lessons the last time we played here, and like you said, we lost that game in 2024, I think. Obviously the Argentina really physical, quality side, like I said, so I think we took our lessons out of that, and we well prepared.
This series preparation for the upcoming greatest rivalry with the All Blacks. The All Blacks are playing the Stormers on Friday. They'll be captained by Patrick Tuapalatu, who with Josh Morby are the only two players retained from the win over Ireland. Burden Barrett, who did not play any of the Nations Championship starts. Kickoff on Friday is 7. And in cricket, Pakistan beating the West Indies by 8 wickets on day 4 of the second test. Pakistan's first away win in Test cricket in 3 years. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa is brought to you by BCX. Built on trusted telecom business connectivity. Powered by cloud, strengthened by security, enabled by AI.
Coming up in the next hour, What's the Question? It's brought to you by Outsurance. 3,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. You send us an answer based on something that piqued your interest during the show, and you win 1,000 Rand for that. WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072 702 1702. Later, someone else will ask a question to get your answer, and they'll win 2,000 Rand. Now, you always stand a better chance of being selected to give us today's answer if you've SMS'd out to Outsurance and got yourself a quote. So SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Hello, my name is Bandile. I am 12 years old and I go to St. Benedict's Preparatory School. When I grow up, I want to be a software engineer. I am so excited but a little bit nervous to be playing the Whiz Quiz with Uncle Bongani.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
EWN Traffic.
14 to 7, this EWN traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Are there issues in Roodepoort?
Well, that's correct, Bongani. On the N1 North, just as you come out of the Soweto Highway towards 14th Avenue, please be on the lookout there. Peak time delays are piling up along this route. There's also delays on the N1 South leaving Midrand. This is due to roadworks that are taking place right near the Baklu interchange, while roadworks are also taking place on the N3 North, causing delays between the Yelands interchange and Van Buren Road. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Clever excuses for being late, number 93. The GPS language setting mysteriously changed to Greek. Fortunately, with the OutSurance pointsman on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The OutSurance pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With OutSurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702, OutSurance is a licensed insurer in FSP.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Good morning, Bongani and the team. Well, my story is quite recent. So I was studying in a syndicate room which has access code, and it also has cameras right outside. And so I wanted to step out for a couple of minutes for lunch, and I left my laptop. And the funny thing is that I had something tell me that I actually shouldn't be leaving my laptop. And what I did was, and I don't understand why I did that, but I took a picture of the table. So how my MacBook was sitting, how my notebook was sitting, and then I left. And then when I came back, my MacBook was not there, and I instantly froze and had a panic attack. But luckily for me, my MacBook was safe with the securities. Ellen from Pretoria.
Oh, now we have it. Motel and Ramaphosa have something in common. The dollar guys.
Who is the wizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Up next, a conversation with author and veteran sports journalist Kevin McCullum. We're playing the Whiz Quiz, though. In the meantime, you've got to be aged 10 to 13 to play. 10,000 Rand. 10,000 Rand is up for grabs. You get all 10 questions correctly in 60 seconds. We're playing with 12-year-old Bandile today, who goes to St. Benedict's College. St. Benny's, hey, that's the nickname for your school. Hey, Bandile?
Yeah.
You go to St. Benny's, huh? All right. I tell you what, let's get straight into it. 10,000 Rand up for grabs. Good luck.
Thanks.
KG, start the clock. What's the name of the force that pulls objects towards the ground on Earth? Is it gravity or is it gravy?
Gravity.
Correct. True or false? The cheetah is the fastest land animal.
True.
Correct. Where does SpongeBob SquarePants work?
Krusty Krab.
At the Krusty Krab. Correct. What do we call the writing that blind people read with their fingers?
Pass.
Braille. What's 5 times 5?
25.
Correct. True or false? The male pollen-bearing part of a flower is called the stamen.
False.
That's true. What is South Africa's national animal?
Springbok.
Correct. What planet is known as the red planet?
Mars.
Correct. How many holes do you play in a standard round of golf? Is it 6 or 18 holes?
6.
It's 18. It's 18. And we got through 9 questions. 9 questions asked, 6 answered correctly. Bandile walking away with 600 Rand. 600 Rand. That's the tally you've got. If you'd like to get your chance to play the Whiz Quiz, simply go to primemediaplus.com, enter your name, your age, and the school you go to, and we could be calling you.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
This is 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Brought to you by BCX. Built on trusted connectivity. Powered by cloud. Strengthened by security. Enabled by AI.
His body is on the line. From here on, it's going to be a fiercely contested, chaotic fight with neither side prepared to give an inch. And the pace of play is going to be relentless. Pitched battles with heavy tackles from both sides. The kind of hyperbole that is very familiar to our next guest, who is, of course, one of the country's best sports writers. Kevin McCullum joins us now to talk about the latest ructions at FIFA, the governing body for world football. President Gianni Infantino fighting on following an emergency meeting with his top leadership in Rabat, Morocco. Kevin, I thought you might have a bit of a laugh about that. You are used to cliches about football, but generally they're about on-field play, not off.
Yeah, well, the problem with FIFA is that it's usually about off-field play as well. It's been like that since the days of João Havelange, which was 50 years ago, just about. And through Sepp Blatter, now we thought we had a new FIFA, and we've basically got Sepp Blatter light. It's he's as corrupt for
I
my
mean,
taking as anybody else.
I wonder if it is Sepp Blatter light, because we're talking now. I mean, this latest scheme, of course, is the latest scandal, a $20 billion plan. He did not consult associations about it, but also, we now understand, even his top leadership team didn't quite know all the details. So I wonder how much lighter than Sepp Blatter that would be. But as you say, many observers will say this is nothing new. FIFA has always been like this. Sepp Blatter certainly wasn't clean. His predecessor, you've mentioned João Havelange, he wasn't, at least he was compromised, shall we say. We've seen this movie before.
Yeah, we have. I mean, so this is like Back to the Future 3, but with not with Michael J. Fox. But the time machine seems the same. It just seems to repeat itself. Remember that Infantino came in on this new FIFA tag. He was going to change it all. He was going to do everything was going to be different. But since 2015, when Blatter was still in charge, we've had accusations of bribery. The 2010 I was there in 2006 in Zurich when we were awarded the World Cup with 2010, and you still worry about, there's still ructions about that in the background. But nothing seems to have changed with this guy. There's nothing new. He's now sitting and he's quite blatant, and it's all about him. So it's not about football anymore. For a man who traveled to go be at 2 games a day during the World Cup, his carbon footprint, never mind his corruption footprint, was enormous. And now he's sitting in Rabat. He's actually ensconced himself in Rabat in Morocco. He was at the WAFCON game last night, just sitting in plain view. Nothing's wrong. I'm okay.
I mean, just give us a sense of what people are actually asking of this man. I would put it to you, Kevin, that he probably sees himself as the equal to many a world leader, a president of a country. If you think of all the protocols around how he travels, you mentioned his carbon footprint, the private jets, the exclusive hotels, the people he gets to hobnob with. I don't know if that would be so easy to walk away from.
Yeah, I don't remember Sepp Blatter for all his evil and all his wrongs going to a G20 summit and speaking at it, or then going to a Trump summit in the US and speaking to that, giving him a peace prize, which he made up himself. Nobody else. There's still an ethics charge about that being brought up with FIFA, which they're going through the process of, which is a bit like a commission of inquiry in South Africa. It's just going to take forever, and you never know if there's going to be anything that's going to come out of it. He does see himself. I think he sees himself up there. There were stories about the fact that he was talking about during this World Cup, saying to people that he knew that he was going to make some serious money after his term, his 3rd term was finished, because he's been re-elected 3 times. So this will be his 4th term. Sorry, next year if he gets elected again. And he's talking about making serious money. So he's really looking for a position in the future. He's looking at making $20 billion. That's what he sees himself as. So if he can get up there, he'll be like a Donald Trump, an Elon Musk, but with a better accent, I suppose.
Look, he's not going out without a fight. That meeting yesterday in Morocco, that statement at the end about, yes, okay, this was a mistake, but don't come after us now. Don't you dare talk about our procedures and how we run world football, or else be warned. I mean, this is not a guy who's going to go away without a fight. And clearly, he's got a lot of world football behind him, Asia, Africa, the South American regions, and there's no clear rival.
Yeah, so UEFA's not for him. Africa, I see 5 countries have come out in quite strong support of him. CONCACAF, the South American Federation, they've issued a sort of a nondescript sort of statement that doesn't really say much. UEFA obviously against it. The Americas, North and Central, are against it as well. Asia, though, the one thing about Asia, I know Qatar's come out and support. Saudi Arabia, who he thought they were going to be a big supporter because of 3034, haven't said to him, listen, you've got our full support. So there's a bit of iffing and toing and froing. My worry is that he's basically saying this money's going to go to you. So the poorer continents, the poorer members, particularly those in Africa and a lot in Asia, they're going to go, well, we're not making money. If he's going to promise us an extra $40 million over the next 3 years, we'll take it. We got nothing.
CAF then has been silent largely on this.
Motsepe was he was strident in the support before the World Cup, saying that in Africa you don't stab a friend in the back, which I wouldn't go that far to say. In terms of the way FIFA operates, Motsepe needs to be very wary of his steps here, because he could find himself walking in a quagmire of corruption.
I mean, is there any possibility, and this may be an extreme scenario, but is there any possibility where, say, UEFA and the European countries, and of course the North American and Central American associations, split from FIFA and form their own body if they don't get their way here?
You know, there's been a talk about that for a long time. And there's some stories coming out today, particularly in the Times of London, how Infantino was involved in a Super Nations plan that UEFA was behind, and he was going to back it and put his name to it. And now he's walked away from that. The problem with that is UEFA then would be seen, and CONCACAF would be seen as elitist. But I can see them doing it. The FA has withdrawn their letter of support for Infantino for elections next year. So is the Football Federation of Wales and a couple of others. The Jordanians are accusing him of bribery. Let's see. You know, it may be that may be this one step too far. You know, they've going behind their backs. If you're a person with this handout, you want to be put that money be put into your back pocket, you know, not to be taken away from you and done behind in nefarious ways.
And I said earlier, there's no clear rival, and that makes it complicated for those who would oppose him, because if he goes, then who comes in? We'll have to leave it there. Kevin McCallum, appreciate your analysis and perspective. An author and veteran sports journalist.
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
What's your most trusted source of news and information as newsrooms across South Africa continue to downsize and shred not papers but jobs? How much longer can traditional media survive, and what will it mean for our democracy? Up next, a conversation with the CEO and publisher of the Daily Maverick, Stili Karalambus.
This is EWN.
Julius Mkhwanazi's alleged crimes continue to pile up, and Parliament's impeachment committee continues to roll up its sleeves. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Embattled Ekurhuleni Metro cop Julius Mkhwanazi's legal woes are piling up with a court appearance for another alleged crime. Mkhwanazi and 4 others were arrested yesterday in connection with the murder of Emmanuel Mbenze in 2022 after police raided his Brakpan home. Mbenze was allegedly tortured to death, and his body was found in a dam near Nigel. Police watchdog IPID alleges Mbenze was implicated in a business robbery in Boksburg. Mkhwanazi and his co-accused will appear in the Brakpan Magistrates Court in connection with the crime. Dimakato Leshuru has more.
This is the 4th arrest of suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi. He has previously appeared in 3 high-profile criminal cases, including the 14.9 million rand precious stones theft case, the Blue Light saga, and a traffic fraud matter, but has remained out of custody. This time, the Schedule 6 murder charge places the onus on Mkhwanazi and his co-accused to prove exceptional circumstances to be granted bail. The state is likely to oppose their release. In 2 of its 3 previous cases, the state did not oppose bail. In the Boksburg matter, however, where he is charged alongside EMPD City Manager Kagiso Lerutla, the court granted bail despite the state's opposition. Mkhwanazi and his co-accused are now charged with the murder of Brakpan businessman Emmanuel Mbenze and defeating the ends of justice. IPID alleges they were involved in Benze's murder, the dumping of his body at Spalvatr Dam, and the subsequent cover-up. Dimakato Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
The Madlanga Commission has heard there was a plot by some senior IDOC officials to get rid of suspended Police Commissioner Fani Masemola and Crime Intelligence Head Dumsani Khumalo. This was brought to light During the testimony of IDEC prosecutor Trushanta Ramsamy yesterday, Ramsamy says it seems former IDEC head Andrea Johnson and the unit's chief investigator Dylan Perumal were allegedly plotting against Khumalo and Masemola. Alfara Mushwana has more.
The Madlanga Commission has been looking into whether there was a concerted effort by some IDEC officials to remove crime intelligence head Dumsani Khumalo from his position. The Commission heard yesterday that in April last year, then IDEC head Andrea Johnson allegedly pressured her team to effect arrests in the unit's crime intelligence investigation. Khumalo was eventually arrested, but recent testimony from several witnesses has suggested that his arrest was not only premature, but was also based on inaccurate evidence. IDEC prosecutor Trushanta Ramsamy says Johnson and the unit's suspended chief investigator Dylan Perumal appeared to have hidden motives against suspended National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola and Khumalo.
My understanding of the narrative by them was exactly what they were perpetuating, that General Khumalo and General Masemola, they need to be gone.
The Commission has also heard evidence pointing to several weaknesses in IDEC's case against the suspended National Police Commissioner. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Parliament's impeachment committee is edging closer to finalising its terms of reference for the inquiry into misconduct charges against President Cyril Ramaphosa. The committee combed through 54 pages yesterday to set the guidelines and parameters for the inquiry, agreeing with the legal opinion that Ramaphosa should testify in its own defence. But some political parties say while the president is within his rights to be legally represented, limits should be placed on how often he may consult during oral evidence. Ramaphosa is facing impeachment in connection with the events that occurred at his Palapala farm in 2020 involving the theft of US dollars. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
The ANC's Cameron Dugmore says the president has a country to run and can't be expected to spend all his days in Parliament attending the impeachment hearings. Dugmore has also cautioned the committee against trying to restrict the president's access to legal representation during the hearings.
I think that's going to get this impeachment committee into trouble if we are seeking to deny the president such a basic right.
But the ACDP Steve Swart says limits have to be set.
I would recommend that there is a curtailment of the right to consult legal representatives during cross-examination.
MKP MP John Shlope meanwhile said while the president's right to legal representation was not at issue, it could not occur at all stages of the proceedings.
We've got to strike a fair balance and allow the proceedings to flow once they start.
The committee will meet again in a fortnight to consider a final draft of the terms of reference for adoption. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The International Relations Department has drawn up new rules for former presidents travelling out of the country following Jacob Zuma's diplomatic blunder. Zuma was photographed with alleged state capture mastermind Ajay Gupta and South Africa's High Commissioner to India Anil Suklal. This happened at an event in India about 2 months ago. Suklal's presence there was widely criticised, sparking public backlash. Minister Ronald Lamola yesterday announced that Suklal has been called back to Pretoria to explain himself. Tabiso Koba has more.
In July last year, former state president Jacob Zuma had the International Relations Department scrambling when he visited Morocco. Zuma held a joint media briefing with Morocco's foreign minister, displaying the South African flag behind him and controversially backing the country's claim of Western Sahara, a position that is at odds with South Africa's foreign policy. While he didn't mention Zuma's name specifically, Foreign Relations Minister Ronald Lamola says under the new disclosure mechanism, former presidents traveling out of the country that are seeking diplomatic support will have to provide their full itinerary and purpose of their trip.
To enable an informed assessment of the appropriate level of support required and any associated reputational, political and diplomatic or security risks that may be involved. This will help us avoid a situation where former presidents portray themselves as also representing South Africa's foreign policy, particularly when they have not been mandated by the sitting head of state.
Through the MK party, Zuma has defended the India trip, saying it was a private excursion to visit an old friend. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Gold's trading at $4,247.02 an ounce. The rand is at 16.33 to the dollar, 21.99 to the pound, 18.87 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $79.56 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 N3 North between the Elands Interchange and Van Buren Road. There's also queuing traffic on the Markwa North between Boyson's Road and Carr Street. While traveling towards Roodepoort, do expect delays on the N1 North between the N17 and 14th Avenue.
And in your sport, Gianni Infantino clings to his FIFA presidency power and apologizes, but the apology comes with a warning. At WAFCON, Zambia won but were knocked out on goal difference as Nigeria and Malawi advanced. And there's an aerodynamic cheating controversy rocking the Tour de France Femme, dubbed Bragate.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. Johannesburg is at a low of 4 degrees, peaking at 23. Pretoria 6 and 25. Vereeniging 5 and 23. The top story in EWN this hour. Embattled Ekurhuleni suspended Metro cop Julius Mkhwanazi's legal woes are piling up with a court appearance for another alleged crime.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're listening to 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, brought to you by BCX, technology that helps organizations move forward.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
As, of course, the woes of Julius Mkhwanazi continue to pile up, we thought we'd remind you of what's happening elsewhere in the world. The US is preparing, of course, for its midterm elections, much like we are preparing for local government elections later this year. And the heat is turning up. US President Donald Trump wasting no time to go after one of the Democrats' newest Senate candidates. Speaking at a rally event in Las Vegas, Trump took aim at Dr. Abdul El Sayed shortly after El Sayed won the Michigan Democratic Senate primary. Trump criticizing El Sayed's progressive views, accusing him of pushing politics beyond socialism and towards communism. He also criticized El Sayed's stance on Israel.
Abdul El Sayed, can you believe this? This could only happen to me. Abdul El Sayed, lovely gentleman. He's a man of hate. And now he's going around saying, no, I love everybody. He doesn't love everybody. Put him in office. You're going to find out what he loves. He doesn't love Israel. He doesn't love Jewish people. He hates them. He hates them with a passion that burns in his heart, and there's not a frickin' thing he can do about it. There's not a thing he can do about it, because he hates them. When I watch Abdul, he's full of So, if you remember, during my State of the Union speech from a little while ago, I made a very strong statement. I said that America will never be a socialist country. And I was right. What I didn't say is what they're trying to do, they want to skip socialism. They want to go right down to the bottom of the barrel. That's communism. They want it to be a communist country. We're not letting them have it as a communist country, not even for a minute.
Speaking on CNN just some hours ago, on The Source with Caitlin Collins, El Sayed responded to Donald Trump's claims, describing the strategy of personal attacks as nothing more than a cheap political strategy.
I'm glad he thinks I'm a lovely gentleman. A lot of people think so. Look, this is the response that they have. You notice what he talked about. First, look at the background. It says no tax on tips. The man can't stay on focus. That's like the one thing that he did to offer any economic relief. But instead of that, he's more focused on me and what I'm going to do while we're living through an affordability crisis that is generational. People are paying nearly $5 in gas because of a war he started. And half the time, if he's not talking about me, he's talking about the drapes in his ballroom. So at the end of the day, I invite the president to focus what I'm saying. I want to get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, and pass Medicare for all. I think a lot of Michiganders want that right now. And if you ask yourself about safety of people who pray differently, you heard what Donald Trump was saying about people like me. What do you think he was trying to highlight? He was trying to highlight aspects of my name and my faith in what is a play toward a kind of a kind of Islamophobia that I think none of us really want. So look, I understand what it's like to be made to feel unsafe. And so our responsibility is to take him on so that we have a politics that embraces all people.
And what do you think about our politics? Any better than the name calling you just heard there? The very clear Islamophobia that you just heard there? Do you think we're any better?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, let me take you to the Section 89 committee, which is investigating President Ramaphosa's conduct as far as the Phala farm matter. Here is a bit of an exchange between Julius Malema and ANC MP Cameron Dugmore. And it starts with who gets to call whom what. Have a listen.
Chairperson, two things. I know you are chairing the meeting, and I don't like doing this, but when honourable members talk about respect and refer to other honourable members by their first names and you do nothing about it, you can understand why I'm raising this point. I don't think it's respectful, and it in fact is not in line with convention where Honourable Malema refers to the minister.
I've got no respect for white supremacists. You must know that. I've got no respect for whites who think that
Honourable Malema,
who think they're superior to others. If you do that to your tokens in your party, you can't do that to me. This guy is a racist, and all of you are not realizing it.
Honourable Malema,
he's a bloody racist. This guy.
No,
he thinks he's superior.
Withdraw that.
No, he's racist, that guy.
No,
he's
withdraw
racist.
That.
You can just look at his skin bent from sun. Racist of load.
The clash continued, of course, with Malema continuing to attack Cameron Dugmore. Have a listen to this moment.
You know, the references now to the color of my skin, etc. It's not the first time. The first time you did nothing about it as a chair. And I don't need to defend myself being in the struggle before while Malema was still, Honourable Malema was still a child. And I'm not going to do that.
Honourable Malema, on 2 points. You had referred to Minister Nchabeni by her first name. And you do know that that's not parliamentary. I'll ask you to withdraw that. That's the first one.
I withdraw.
The second one you had referred to Honourable Dugmore as a racist, and it's equally unparliamentary. Could you please withdraw those two statements?
But he cancelled that statement when he said I was a boy when he joined the struggle. What if his father was killing people when he was a boy? What if I make that allegation that his father was killing people when he was a boy before he joined the struggle? He said he joined the struggle before when I was a boy. What if his father was killing people when he was a boy?
Honourable Malema.
Do you ever think, how do you even, if you were chairing a meeting like that, where would you even begin? The man makes the point that I was in the struggle when you were still a child. You will address me properly. And then Julius Malema says, no, but what if his father was killing people when he was a boy? Oh, guys.
702. Up next.
The big interview.
EWN Traffic.
16 after 7, the CWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask them for 500 Rand. Amo?
Well, Bongani, traveling in the city of Tshwane, the N1 North, we've got delays approaching Rigel Avenue. There's also queuing traffic along several roads within the Centurion area. This is obviously due to peak time delays, but I'm seeing an accident reported on Ramti Road. It happened right after the R55. It's causing heavy delays. There's also slow-moving traffic on the N14 East. Unfortunately, this is between the R55 and the Brakfontein interchange. So please be on the lookout there and keep driving safe. We will have more updates. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Deciding to ignore the traffic report may cost you a dentist appointment, but deciding to stay with your current car insurance could be costing you thousands of rands in savings every year. With Outsurance, 36-year-old Gill saves a jaw-dropping 471 Rand a month on her 2025 Hyundai i20. Switch to Outsurance. You too could be one quote away from having more money in your pocket every month. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
Well, it used to be that newsrooms shredded papers, but increasingly these days it is the jobs of journalists as a number of organizations downsize, citing costs. If media houses have fewer reporters and writers, that will of course affect the quality of information the public consumes. And in the era of disinformation and fake news, there could be real consequences for democracy. Just this week, major announcements have been made by Media24 and ENCA. What kind of world will we live in when most people will consume information from social media? We're joined now by the CEO and publisher of Daily Maverick, Stili Karalambus. Stili, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Morning, Bongani, and morning to listeners. Glad to be here.
Listen, over the past week, we've seen restructuring announcements at both Media24 and ENCA. This is hardly a coincidence, and I would suggest we might expect even more organizations to follow.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been following the news out of the news industry for the last decade or so, this is quite a familiar story, both locally and abroad. This is nothing new. What we're seeing is the environment in which we operate, in which we produce this very important information or element of the information system is being squeezed. And it's what's happening is what's called a market failure, and that's happening around us. It's forcing a lot of organizations to cut costs. The economics to sustain this very important industry no longer work. And so these are the developments that are happening here and abroad, and it's very, very difficult. And only a few people are getting it right anywhere in the world. And so what we need now is a policy intervention. That is the only thing that can restore a market failure.
All right, just explain what you mean by that market failure. You've argued that the market is broken. What do you mean? And even if it's not unique to us, what are you seeing around the world in terms of the extent of it?
Yeah, so it's an economic term when effectively it says this thing that is still important to society, that it's still important and creates value. The economic models that have traditionally worked to create and sustain this thing no longer do their job properly, right? And so that's what we call a market failure, as opposed to when creative destruction happens, when one industry dies and is replaced by something new and something more useful and something more valuable, and the economics and the free market steps in to do that. And so we're arguing that this isn't market failure because it is still very important. It does still create a lot of value for society, just that the economic model that has traditionally been used no longer works. And when that happens, the only thing that you can do to restore market failure back to some sense of normality is a policy intervention, because the state has more resources, has more tools in its toolbox to be able to create incentives and rebates to be able to stimulate a very important industry. And we've seen this happen in other industries. We've seen it happen with the global financial crisis when the banking industry needed to be bailed out effectively there. We see agricultural subsidies in certain sectors because food security is important. We've seen energy systems around the world being given a leg up by subsidies and incentives. And so if the industry is important and if value is still being created for society at large, then it warrants a policy intervention.
I'll come back to that policy intervention, but I just want to sort of unpack how news works and the economy of the news in a sense before we get there. News and information, when it went digital, many people would have welcomed the change and the speed, for example, with which information could be disseminated. They would have called it the democratization of the news. I mean, in some senses, audiences consume more news and information than ever and are able, with current platforms, to engage in it. They're no longer just passive when it comes to news. So where is the problem? if a market leader like News 24 gets to the point where it's about to bleed more than half of its workforce, where's the problem?
Yeah, so just to be clear, there it's ENCA that are putting up a notice for up to half of their staff. But if you go back and look at Media 24, which is the parent company of News 24, and you go back to 2020, I think they've lost almost 2/3 of their workforce since 2020. So it's been a sort of a stepped decline. And you're right, there's been a massive shift in how people are accessing their news since the rise of the internet and then social media on top of that. And there's so much more that is available, and it has created many more opportunities for us to go from having limited channels of information that have been controlled by a few players to pretty much getting anything, anywhere, anytime, in any format from anyone. And that has created an oversupply, if you will, a lot of information out there. But not all of it is, let's say, what we would call public interest journalism and information, which has to go through a professional process. There's multiple editors will look at it. There's quality control checks. There's a press code that we abide to if we don't do a good job, that allows for recourse and for a free and quick assessment of complaints. And so the whole model has been turned upside down when you have that amount of, that amount of information coming through so many channels so easily has disrupted the traditional models. If we look back at how news was sustained in the past, the majority of the revenue came through advertising. Now, when we all moved online, the majority of that advertising moved to the big tech players who had very little cost to produce content, because we as the public were creating that content for consumption, and they didn't really have to be responsible for what was published on their platform. So these advantages really meant that they were able to really ramp up and accelerate and dominate and build a better mousetrap, so to speak. And so the market around has shifted. It shifted very quickly, very dramatically, and most news organizations around the world, very few of them were able to successfully digitally transform from traditional and legacy business models into new digital ones. And it's not just our publishers here in South Africa that are struggling. Some of the biggest, most storied news institutions with the most resources in the world, serving some of the biggest markets in the world, are also unable to do that. If we look at the likes of the Washington Post, losing $100 million a year, the LA Times was losing about $50 million a year, and the Guardian is losing about £50 million a year. And so you see, these are actually global phenomena, and everyone keeps saying it's a business model problem, right? You've got to get more readers to come and support you. You've got to write better marketing copy. You've got to do better journalism. And yes, we do have to do that, and some of us have done it quite well. But if we want to restore the entire market, this is why we keep coming back to this idea of recognizing the market failure, and only appropriate response is the policy intervention.
Subscriptions don't help? Paywalls?
Subscriptions do help, but there are two problems with that. The first is that we see that certain markets can sustain some subscriptions, some level of subscriptions, and obviously the more well-developed markets like the US or Europe, we're seeing that subscriptions are playing a big role, and it is the natural sort of answer to this problem is to go to your readers, make sure you're doing a quality job, putting out good, high-impact quality journalism, and people will help you. The downside of that is that you then have to block off that journalism, that professional media is only accessible to those people who've paid. Now, in a country like South Africa, on a continent like Africa, the propensity to pay is much, much lower because our economic challenges are much, much higher, right? And so there's not enough of those people. The rates that can be achieved are much lower than overseas. And then we also start creating this sort of information class system if all of that good stuff that is gone through a professional process is sitting behind a paywall. And I would also argue that the impact on the democratic institutions of doing this is being played out even in those most developed markets.
If we then turn to this idea of a policy proposal, or state intervention, perhaps, to fund journalism as a public good. How does that not turn all of us in the media into a pravda, notwithstanding what this government has done, say, to the SABC?
Well, firstly, Bongani, I mean, you've worked in newsrooms most of your adult life, and you know how ungovernable journalists can be. So I think that's a starting point of defense that we have in protecting that. So, but apart from that, you are quite right. There is a risk that this happens, and we have seen in countries where the benefits come through direct subsidies like grants from government to news publishers, it does create a dependency that causes problems. And in that case, French publishers who received those grants were being criticized of being too light on reporting on government. And so we can combat that by introducing indirect subsidies. And what we mean by that is that on memberships and subscriptions should be zero rated. So it comes through the public having to choose first and foremost whether you're doing a good job. It's not a direct payout from government to news publishers. Other ways of indirect subsidies working are advertising rebates. So we're proposing that if you're a member of the Press Council in good standing and you advertise with a Press Council member, you get a rebate on that spend. And similarly, to attract investment back into the industry, very similar to how the venture capital industry in South Africa was supported, offering investor rebates on that. So again, coming through third parties first and foremost, and not through direct government grants. And then that will reduce the potential and not necessarily guaranteed interference or reliance on direct subsidies from government. And so we can mitigate that quite a lot by using indirect subsidies.
Do you have any good news?
So there are a few organizations in most markets that are starting to navigate this turbulence. I think we've done a pretty good job here in South Africa as Daily Maverick, even though we've had to downsize and retrench a few years ago, which is never a great process. But through all of this, it forces you to be innovative. It forces you to try and come up with new ideas, new formats, keep assessing what audiences need as opposed to what they want. And so, we keep telling ourselves, having to remind ourselves, we're in the job of creating journalism that society needs, as opposed to, all the ones that are out there and trying to figure out. So in a way, the pressure does make you, it forces you to keep innovating, right? And I think we've seen some really good work. The move to video, I think, is helping us reach more people. It's helping us get the word out there. Even though the economics of video, for example, are very challenging and still no one's really figured out a sustainable business model for all the video investments that we're making. And so you've got to see it as almost a marketing channel as well. So I think there have been, the good news is that it's forced us to be innovative, right? And it's forced us to sort of think about new formats, new audiences, think about impact a lot more. And so, there is a silver lining, but I think on the whole, it's still very difficult in dark times. And it's one of those things, it's one of those industries where even if you don't use that journalism, that investigation, that bit of accountability journalism still works for you, right? It still goes out there. People can still, people in certain places will read it and something might come from it. So, but you will miss it when it's gone.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening is that we've taken it a little bit for granted. And it's in a dire place.
Indeed, it's particularly stinging, of course, when a major news outlet puts out this notice and the CEO is, earning 19 million rand a year. We'll leave it there. Stile Karalambus is, of course, the CEO and publisher of the Daily Maverick.
EWN Business.
Muteo Kharipe is here for a market roundup at this hour. Muteo?
A good play for the JSE yesterday, up more than 1,000 points, lifted by mining shares, which were up 5.4%. Industrials were down by 0.5%, with banking stocks also in some weakness. Goldfields was up 8.5% yesterday, Anglo Gold up 8%, and Implats up 5.9%. The rand at this hour slightly lower against the dollar at 16 rand 34, 18 rand 86 against the euro, and 21 rand 99 cents against the British pound. Price of gold up slightly at $4,257 an ounce, while platinum is up more than 1% at $1,761. Brent crude now at $79 a barrel. Full bulletin after 8.
Straight to the news desk we go. Swiss Zulu, what do you have at this hour?
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. The Magistrates Commission has formally appointed an investigator to probe the conduct of former Mpumalanga Chief Magistrate Thuletu Tonjeni. The investigation follows Tonjeni's handling of a high-profile extortion case against taxi bosses Joe Ferraris Banyoni, Bafana Sindane, and 2 others. The NPA lodged a complaint after Tonjeni struck the R2 million case off the roll in May, found prosecutor Mkuseli Ntaba in contempt of court, and authorized a warrant for his arrest. Mongezi Koko reports.
Just days after the ruling, the NPA re-enrolled the case in Dalmis, while Tonjeni retired from the bench at the end of May, bringing an end to any possible disciplinary proceedings against her. Although the Magistrates Commission no longer has the power to charge Tonjeni for misconduct following her retirement, it says its ethics committee recommended that an independent investigator be appointed to examine the complaint. The investigator was appointed on the 6th of July and has already commenced the investigation. The commission says witnesses have been subpoenaed and will be interviewed before a report is submitted later this month. The ethics committee will then consider the findings before making recommendations to the full commission. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
The city of Ekurhuleni says it's committed to upholding due process and implement lawful council resolutions after a Labour court ruling upheld the dismissal of HR head Linda Xhasheka. Xhasheka is accused of receiving gratification alongside the Metro's legal head Kemi Bihari, who was also dismissed. The pair and former city manager Imogen Mashazi allegedly shielded suspended EMPD chief Julius Mkhwanazi from investigations into his dealings with alleged crime boss Vusmuzi Kat Matlala. The city opposed Xhasheka's Labour court appeal on grounds that she failed to address the matter through ordinary internal processes. Ekurhuleni spokesperson Pagamile Mbengashe.
The court found that she had failed to establish urgency in the matter. The urgent application was dismissed with costs, and the council resolution terminating her employment remains in effect. The city remains committed to upholding due process and implementing council decisions within the law.
The DA in Gauteng says the provincial legislature speaker's visit to Venezuela, which reportedly cost taxpayers around 5.9 million rand, was a slap in the face to residents facing basic service delivery challenges. The party has submitted a motion of censure against Morokane Musupia, accusing her of wasting public funds on the controversial trip late last year. The trip allegedly involved excessive spending, including accommodation and daily allowances, and the DA Solim Simanga says the speaker must be held accountable.
Why is that the case? And now this is the question that we are now asking of the speaker. The legislature now must debate this and make sure that these kind of things don't happen going forward. And this is why we are submitting the motion of censure.
And motorists are being warned to be careful of fraudulent traffic fine scams in Cape Town. Criminals have been targeting car owners with fake fine notifications, demanding payment within 24 hours and threatening legal action if it is not settled. Traffic Services spokesperson Kevin Jacobs advises motorists to verify fines by visiting the nearest driving license testing centre.
In Cape Town, infringement notices are sent via post and MMS. They will include a picture of the fine notice and links to our 2 online platforms, which are City of Cape Town viewfines.co.za.
A fine day in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures are at lows of 4 and 6 degrees, peaking at highs between 23 and 25.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 South between Samrand Avenue and the Baklu interchange. There's also queuing traffic due to peak time delays on the N1 North between the N17 exit and 14th Avenue.
The top story this hour. The Magistrates Commission has formally appointed an investigator to probe the conduct of former Mpumalanga Chief Magistrate Thuletu Tonjeni.
Just handle exit.
Do you have a sore throat? Anzilex C Oral Rinse and Spray provides targeted relief from 1 minute that lasts up to 4 hours. It reduces pain and inflammation while numbing the affected areas. It also kills viruses and bacteria that cause sore throats to help prevent serious throat infections. Anzilex, South Africa's #1 choice for sore mouth and throats. For more information, speak to your healthcare professional.
Just Anzilex it.
Anzilex, a proud sponsor of The Masked Singer Season 3.
The CSIR International Convention Center has over 40 years of experience in hosting international, local, and national business events. This purpose-built venue is set on a tranquil campus in Pretoria East in the knowledge hub and science diplomacy, the city of Tshwane. Host your next business event at a venue where innovation meets experience. Visit csiricc.co.za for more information. The CSIR International Convention Center, where smart minds meet.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
Hi, this is Teko Modise, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. Be a winner who knows when it's time for a timeout and play responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counseling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No person under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Bongani and the 702 lenders. I was thinking that teaching was hard, dealing with kids. Now when you have to deal with adults like Mr. Julius Malema, oh my goodness. What? Hi, yeah, South Africa for you. I have a problem with this honorable thing. I wouldn't want to call anyone honorable. They must just go back to using their title, Mr., Miss, Mrs., Doctor, Prof. The honorable. No, they don't have a problem with.
Good morning, 702. I just don't know how anyone can call Julius Malema honorable. Please.
Bongani, you might think everything that's in parliament, it's got brains, it's educated. But when you listen to Malema, and then you doubt everything, God, there's people who can be piece of work, and that's one of them. Thank you. It's Nimrod here.
Bongani, I give up on this CIC guy. No. I think the sooner he gets to jail, the better. Probably, maybe that is the only thing that would, deal with him and make him a better person. But I mean, the way he's going on and on and on and on and on, just like, no, I can't believe it. Yeah, ne?
Good morning, Bongs and 702 lenders. Happy Thursday. Debs are here, Albertson. Bongs, Malema, the only thing that is left is a name there, man. This CIC thing and the president of EFF and future president of SA, he must just forget that, hey, this guy is tainted, man. Very bad. There is no recovery from here. And I think one thing that I'm waiting to see unfold is his court case for gunshots. And the second one, I am praying for him to get this day in Mandlanga Commission. I have suspicions that between him and Khan, they were cooking the country. So it's about time, and we unfold what actually Malema is behind. But I know he must just forget about being the future president of RSA. No, he must just forget. Thank you. Lovely show as always.
Yeah, we played you a little clip earlier of an exchange at that Section 89 committee looking into the president's activities as far as the Phala Phala Farm saga is concerned. There was a bit of an exchange between Julius Malema, who had strong words against Cameron Dugmore, who, I must remind you, was an anti-apartheid activist. He was particularly involved in the End Conscription campaign. So this takes you back to the 1980s as a young activist and as a student leader. So he was well within his rights, was Cameron Dugmore, to say to Malema that he was but a mere child when he was doing all of those things. And for that reason, Julius Malema attacks him and says he is a racist. His struggle credentials be damned, right? Wow.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance. A chance for you to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First, 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later, 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. Today's answer comes from Selena in Centurion. Selena, please give us today's answer.
Today's answer is 2016.
2016. And tell me, Selena, have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance?
Yes.
Your biscuit, 1,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to 702 and Outsurance. Thank you for that answer. Selena says it's 2016. What's the question? Call us if you know on 011 8830 702.
EWN Sport.
It almost occurred to me, he hasn't been president since 2016. Has he? Gianni Infantino? I can't quite remember now, top of my head, when he became president. But I bet you there's going to be a lot of people trying to call us saying, when did Gianni Infantino become president of FIFA? Was it the year 2016?
Yes, your memory is amazing.
That is not the question we're looking for, though.
But do you remember that press conference? The press conference where Sepp Blatter was accused of being corrupt and whatever, and somebody and some British man came in with fake dollar notes and threw them in the air. And it was. Please go back and look at the footage.
All
It's
right.
amazing. Do you not remember this?
No.
It was so hysterical.
No, I must look it up.
Yes.
Okay, so what? Just
before he was obviously arrested.
Yeah.
Sepp Blatter, the former FIFA president, for
Yes.
corruption and whatever. Literally, somebody gate crashed a press conference and threw
these
fake
dollars.
Yeah, it was so funny.
Oh, okay, I'll look
and
it up.
awkward because there was this little old man trying to get away from the situation.
Shame.
So much fun. Anyway.
So Gianni Infantino did become president in 2016. That's
and he
not the question we're
stays
looking
there.
for.
And he stays there because his senior management board have voted in his favor because he was facing resignation calls, right? After leaking a private investor World Cup sale proposal. And the plan offered a 25 billion Rand incentive without consulting national associations or allowing adequate voting time. Infantino apologized while vowing to safeguard FIFA's integrity and reputation. Well, at WAFCON, heartbreak for Zambia. They beat Malawi 2-1, but are still eliminated on head-to-head goals after Nigeria thrashed Egypt 6-2. Malawi's second half consolation goal dumping Zambia out. Newcastle has appointed Matthias Gisel as manager for 4 years, paying the £9.5 million compensation to Saudi side Al Ahly, while Arsenal agreed to sign Newcastle captain Bruno Guimaraes for a reported £75 million. Last night, Arsenal lost to Real Betis 3-1 in a pre-season friendly. The All Blacks on their greatest rivalry tour play the Stormers on Friday. Patrick Tuapolatu as captain and Josh Morby the only two retained from the win over Ireland. Bowden Barrett did not play in the Nations Championship starts. Springbok Elrich Lowe admits 2025 was a tough year as he recovered from a broken leg that almost ended his career. This Saturday he lines up in the green and gold to play Argentina and Buenos Aires.
Devastating for me at the time, but there were a lot of support behind me, helping me at rehab, working hard to get back on the field in the time that I did. Obviously, just the motivation to be back in the Springbok squad was more than enough for me to continue working hard and play rugby to the best of my ability. To forget about the injury also mentally was a big part for me.
And there's an aerodynamic cheating controversy rocking the Tour de France Femme, dubbed Bragate or Bra Maxing.
What?
Rival teams allege that some cyclists use padded sports bras. This is the women's race, of course, as artificial chest fairing to smooth airflow and reduce wing drag during the individual time trials. So as a result, women are getting checked before the race stages. Cindy Polita, Eyewitness News Sport.
Himmel.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa is brought to you by BCX. Built on trusted telecom business connectivity. Powered by cloud, strengthened by security, enabled by AI.
EWN Traffic.
13 minutes to 8 o'clock. Let's catch up with the roads. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got an accident on the N12 West. This is in the Pasonia area, right as you approach Komaro Crossing. Please be on the lookout there. Delays from the Reading interchange. About a 15-minute hold up there. If you want to avoid this backlog, you are more than welcome to use alternative routes like the R59 South. And then if you are traveling in the Bedfordview area, there's queuing traffic reported along the N3 North approaching the Kilulis interchange. Roadworks are causing these delays. And there's also queuing traffic reported in Westine along Main Road at the intersection of Perth Road. This is due to an accident. Please approach with care. Then if you're traveling in the Parkmore area, there's slow-moving traffic along Winnie Mandela Drive towards Santon Drive. Please do drive with care. We'll have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
This week on The Masked Singer South Africa, 6 masks return to the stage and Mpho Pops set up 3 epic battles. Sushi versus Kook Sister, spinach versus Hoja, and pineapple versus sheep. Yep, this week Mpho Pops gets us ready for another big night of mystery, music, and laughs.
First up, we have a battle of sweet and savory. Dinner versus dessert. It's sushi versus Kook Sister! These two masks definitely don't go together, but this is Masked Singer South Africa, where anything can happen. It's Popeye's magic ingredient going up against the mask that will have you stomping the floor. Make some noise for spinach and Hoja! A tropical sensation takes on the duet that seems to be in a relationship. Give it up for pineapple and sheep!
Oh my gosh. Catch a brand new episode of The Masked Singer South Africa this Saturday at 7 p.m. on SABC2, because every detail could bring you one step closer to guessing who is behind the mask. You can also catch the repeats on Thursday at 9 p.m. on SABC1, Friday 1:30 p.m. on SABC2.
Being in construction has taught me that buying machinery doesn't come cheap. Loaders, excavators, graders, they're the heartbeat of the job site. Now, thanks to My Way Business Insurance, I save up to 20% on my insurance premiums every month. This saving helps keep my machines working and projects moving.
Switch to My Way Business Insurance and save up to 20% on your yellow metal machinery. Real businesses, real savings. Call us on 0860 646464 today for a quote. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. Standard rates and T's and C's apply.
What's for dinner tonight, South Africa? Hiya, Jamie Oliver here. Dinner stress? Forget it. I've teamed up with Checkers to bring you some of my favourite recipes the whole family will love. Like my chili con carne meatballs. Proper comfort food from me and Checkers. Easy peasy and delicious. Shop the ingredients on Checkers 6060 and boom, delivered in 60 minutes. Every week, 5 brand new dinner ideas. Checkers, dinner done better.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance, please tell me what's the question. If the answer is 2016, let's go to the lines. And we've got Mohammed. Mohammed, what's the question?
Good morning. In what year did the song Cheap Thrills by Sia and Sean John go to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100?
Did you dance to it at the time, Mohammed?
Sorry?
Did you dance to it at the time?
No, sir.
Oh, come on. Would you dance to it now?
Okay, I'll dance to it.
All right. Don't tell anyone. 2,000 Rand is coming your way. All thanks to 702 and Outsurance. Mohammed gets it right. This was the number 1 song 10 years ago.
To save money, you drive to the specific garage where you get fuel rewards. So why not spend 10 minutes getting an Outsurance car insurance quote like 48-year-old Sylvia, who saves...
I'm saving 802 Rand per month. It came out the best. Drop your old insurance so that you can save a lot of money.
That's a mind-blowing 802 Rand saving on Sylvia's 2019 BMW X1. Do it now. SMS out to 45142. Outsurance saves 50-year-old Lawrence 309 Rand on his 2025 Volkswagen T-Cross.
309 Rand. I accepted the quote. Didn't shop around. Didn't need to. Click, click, ring, ring.
Another satisfied Outsurance client. And with Help at Out, you also get benefits like 24/7 roadside assistance and loads more. How much money could Outsurance save you? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insured FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
This Women's Month, here's to the woman who keeps families connected. The homework, the side hustle, the family group chat, all of it runs through her. She deserves better than a hotspot. Net99 brings real fiber into the Kasi uncapped from 379 Rand. Mahala installation, no contract. One connection for the whole family. Just top up and go, like airtime. Real Kasi Wi-Fi. Check your coverage at net99.co.za or you can WhatsApp 087 245 0099.
Famous for available staff. Famous for knowledgeable staff. Famous for always helping you with a smile. Now with 10 stores across Gauteng and a new branch in the East Rand in September, our expert staff are here to help you with all your hardware needs. Paint, power tools, gardening, pet care and plumbing. Big on stock, strong on service, built on values. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
Peregrine Capital presents Brian Habana's Count to 100.
In my journey to 100, it started with my first cap, then my second, 10th, 50th, 90th, 99th.
Brian Habana, his 100th international test. You get to 100 one decision at a time. For 28 years, Peregrine Capital has applied that same discipline to turn 1 million Rand into 100 million. Peregrine Capital. Invest in performance. An authorized FSP. Past performance non-indicative of future performance. T's and C's apply.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
Time now for the world of viral content. Kabazela. Hello, Kabazela. Are you there? All right, Kabazela seems to be on mute. Hello, Kabazela? We don't quite have Kabazela.
702.
702. Feedback.
With Siamtanda Matiso.
So whilst we're trying to get Kabazela back on the line, we can go straight into our feedback session with Siamtanda Matiso. No doubt quite a few reactions to what we've been raising on the show this morning, Sia.
Absolutely, Bongs. You asked, what's the most valuable or important thing you accidentally thrown away or lost, and did you manage to recover it? People mentioned their house keys, car keys, sunglasses. They've left their laptops and libraries. You know that thing when you think
How do you leave your laptop in the library?
I can get it. I mean, your mind is flustered. You've been studying for so long, and maybe you were taking a walk around with your bag, and then you forget and you decide to go home. I don't know. Could be something like that, Bongs. Please don't be judgmental.
I'm not.
Anyways, there was a listener by Ishmael who had said that they lost their license disc, and you were like, that's easy to recover. But another listener by Mdu argued differently.
Morning, the Bongs. Talking about the guy who lost the license disc, and you are saying it's easy. Why can't he go to the license department and get another license disc? It's not easy, as you may think. It was unpaid to me. I lost the disc because the windscreen got cracked. So when you get there, when they will put your details on the system, they see that you already have a license disc, and they want you to go to the police station, make a david. It's a long process, price. Not easy as you think. Run from for.
I don't know. I mean, if you go back to the same department, the same, not station, but if you go back to where you got the disc.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, I am.
surely that's all you need to do.
Absolutely, Bong. So I tried contacting the traffic department just to understand if this is true. They couldn't get back to me in time. But I went into their website and it argues to your point. If you go to the same department that you registered in, they have your information there. You just need to bring in your ID. And also there's a few forms that you need to fill out on, and then you get your license disc. But then I did call him due, and it so happens that he did go to a different branch. So
that's why he went through.
That's why, yeah, he went through all the hassle. But also you had an interview at 10 to 7 about FIFA and Gianni Infantino. They're saying time is up for Gianni Infantino. He can't run again next year. They thought that him being in would change the trajectory when it comes to FIFA and stuff, but it's not.
I'm curious about all those local fans who think Infantino should go when our association, CAF hasn't said anything.
Can I just advise the listeners, if you want to know more about FIFA, from how it started and the corruption and all of the stuff, more especially even the video that Cindy had described, just go to Netflix. They had a documentary there called FIFA Uncovered, and it was released in 2022.
All right, that's the feedback with Siam Tanda Matiso.
702.
What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
Let's try him on the line and see if he'll unmute himself there. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Bella. Definitely not unmuting myself. I am perfectly fine this side, but technical issues nonetheless.
That's what we call it these days. All right, talk to me about distance and quality of life. I think this is really one worth talking about.
Yeah, this is a point. This guy, his name is Jalen Hinton. He's a comedian, and he picked up a post that somebody had made on X about quality of life and the distance you live from your place of work. Now, you may be in the car now on your way to the office, and it could be a little, if you're lucky enough, 10-minute, 15-minute drive, or it could be over an hour. And also the issue here could be distances, right? So you could live maybe 10 k's from work, but it takes you over an hour because traffic is so bad. Or you could live maybe 50 kilometers from work, and it takes you, an hour or just over an hour because there's not that much traffic. So let's take a listen to what he says, and then we'll chat thereafter.
The distance between your house and your job affects your quality of life. And this couldn't be any more real. Because if you live 5 to 10 minutes away from your job, chances are you waking up a little bit later. You can take your time. You can move how you want to move. You ain't in no rush. But if you one of them people, you live 30, 45 minutes away from your job, and I've heard some people be an hour away from their job, then you just miserable. Your whole life.
Yeah, I would expect he's right.
Yeah, definitely. So let's put it out there this morning to our 702 family and find out how far away do you live from your place of work. And sometimes there's no choice in this. You need a job, you're desperate for a job, and you get the job that comes about, and that could be very, very far away. So how far is it that you live from work, and how many hours do you spend in traffic on a daily basis?
All right. How long is your morning or afternoon commute? How far away from work? I want it in kilometers. Let us know.
This is EWN.
Another day, another court appearance for Julius Mkhwanazi, and the Social Development Department admits to wasting money. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Embattled, suspended Ekurhuleni Metro Cop Julius Mkhwanazi's legal woes are piling up with a court appearance for another alleged crime. Mkhwanazi and 4 others were arrested yesterday in connection with the murder of Emmanuel Mbenze in 2022. Mbenze was allegedly tortured to death and his body was found in a dam near Nigel. Police watchdog IPID alleges Mbenze was implicated in a business robbery in Boksburg. Demakasole Shuru has has more.
This is the fourth arrest of suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi. He has previously appeared in 3 high-profile criminal cases, including the 14.9 million rand precious stones theft case, the Blue Light saga, and a traffic fraud matter, but has remained out of custody. This time, the Schedule 6 murder charge places the onus on Mkhwanazi and his co-accused to prove exceptional circumstances to be granted bail. The state is likely to oppose their release. In 2 of his 3 previous cases, the state did not oppose bail. In the Boksburg matter, however, where he is charged alongside EMPD City Manager Kagiso Lerutla, the court granted bail despite the state's opposition. Mkhwanazi and his co-accused are now charged with the murder of Brakpan businessman Emmanuel Mbense and defeating the ends of justice. IPID alleges they were involved in Bence's murder, the dumping of his body at Spalvatr Dam, and the subsequent cover-up. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula's lawyers have pointed apparent inconsistencies in the testimonies of 2 state witnesses in the former defense minister's corruption trial. The High Court in Pretoria yesterday heard testimony from witnesses who claimed to have visited Mapisa-Nqakula's house with defense contractor Nombasa Ntshondwa-Ndlovu. Ntshondwa-Ndlovu, a key state witness, has accused Mapisa-Nqakula of soliciting 4.5 million rand from her. Khumuzomodise has more.
Nombasa Ntshondwa-Ndlovu's sister Andiswa Ntshondwa-Joyi has testified that in April 2019, when her sister picked her up from the OR Tambo International Airport, she said they would have to go to Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula's house, who was defense minister at the time. She says she then showed her 400,000 rand in a white A4 envelope. But Mapisa-Nqakula's lawyers have pointed out that in her testimony, Ntshondwa-Ndlovu did not mention a white envelope, but said the money was in a white FNB money bag. When prosecutors objected, saying the version is that the money was in a white money bag which was inside the envelope, Judge Mashudu Munjalele interjected, saying she's hearing this for the first time. Today, the state is expected to call a financial flows expert to the witness stand. Khomzo Modise, Eyewitness News at the Pretoria High Court.
Parliament's impeachment committee is edging closer to finalising its terms of reference for the inquiry into misconduct charges against the president. The committee combed through 45 pages yesterday to set the guidelines and parameters for the inquiry, agreeing with a legal opinion that Ramaphosa should testify in its own defence. But some political parties say while the president is within the rights to be legally represented, limits should be placed on how he often may consult during oral evidence. Ramaphosa is facing impeachment in connection with events that occurred at his Palapala farm in 2020 that involved the theft of US dollars. Lindsay Dentlinker has more.
The ANC's Cameron Dugmore says the president has a country to run and can't be expected to spend all his days in Parliament attending the impeachment hearings. Dugmore has also cautioned the committee against trying to restrict the president's access to legal representation during the hearings.
I think that's going to get this impeachment committee into trouble if we are seeking to deny the president such a basic right.
But the ACDP Steve Swart says limits have to be set.
I would recommend that there is a curtailment of the right to consult legal representatives during cross-examination.
MKP MP John Shlope meanwhile said while the president's right to legal representation was not at issue, it could not occur at all stages of the proceedings.
We've got to strike a fair balance and allow the proceedings to flow once they start.
The committee will meet again in a fortnight to consider a final draft of the terms of reference for adoption. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And the Social Development Department has admitted to outsourcing all of its communications functions in a wasteful exercise that had to be discontinued. It says the work included the producing of a communication strategy despite having someone in the department employed to do the work. Officials revealed that they relied heavily on consultants for its communications functions while briefing the Social Development Portfolio Committee yesterday. Babalo Ndenze has more.
The department yesterday defended paying almost R500,000 for hotel accommodation for its acting spokesperson for 7 months, saying this was the cheapest option. Department officials told the portfolio committee that Sandy Godlwana, who has since been appointed Chief Director Communications, was able to perform functions that were previously outsourced while she was still acting in the position. Deputy Director General Olile Brukwe said previously every function was performed by a service provider.
So the cost we spent on accommodation of the current Chief Director Communication during her period of secondment is just a tip of the iceberg compared to the amount of unnecessary expenditure that was happening within the communications functions. Because during her predecessor, 99% of the work of that Chief Directorate was done by service providers.
Brooker says the work was outsourced despite having the manpower to perform the functions, and that's why he had to terminate the arrangements. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News.
Gold's trading at $4,265.59 an ounce. The rand is at 16.33 to the dollar, 21.98 to the pound, 18.86 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $79.10 a barrel.
And in the traffic in Basonia, we've got an accident near Komara Street. It's causing heavy traffic volumes. This is on the N12 West while traveling in West Dean. Another accident seen along Main Road. It happened near Perth Road, also causing delays there while heading towards Bedfordview. Do expect delays on the N3 South. Another accident reported right near Modderfontein Road, causing delays.
And in your sport, the Stormers have named Junior Box the halfback pairing to face the All Blacks on Friday. At WAFCON, Malawi and Nigeria advanced the quarterfinals on goal difference. Heartbreak for Zambia. And Gianni Infantino clings to his FIFA presidency.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 23 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Embattled, suspended Ekurhuleni Metro cop Julius Mkhwanazi's legal woes are piling up with a court appearance for another alleged crime.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 8 o'clock. Yes, indeed, Cindy Paluta is correct. Gianni Infantino clinging to his presidency of FIFA. There's an election in March next year, and it was pretty much assumed he'd be a shoo-in because he had letters of support from various associations. And now, of course, a number of European associations are saying absolutely not. The North Americans are saying absolutely not. The Central Americans are saying absolutely not. But here's the kicker. Infantino has been clever in his strategizing because part of what he wants to argue is the money, the extra revenue that he wants to generate for FIFA through his various plans are going to uplift football in the poorer associations around the world. And that may be why CAF has said absolutely nothing about the latest brouhaha. The Asian countries are also looking at it with some nervousness. Will he stay? Will he go? We also spoke to the CEO of Daily Maverick, Stili Karalambus, about the culling of jobs across the media space. ENCA, of course, the latest to announce that it is going to shed 171 out of 309 employees. That's more than half of its workforce. What does that mean for news in a democracy as vibrant and as loud as ours? I also played you some clips from Parliament. Julius Malema going after Cameron Dugmore. How would you handle that kind of exchange?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Good morning, Bongani. Yeah, Malema is just a nutcase. It's just a nutcase. That guy really needs help. He has to get his head checked. Two types of delusions I picked from Malema. Number one, he's got delusions of grandiosity, which means he thinks too highly of himself. That's number one. Number two, Malema has delusions of persecution. That is, he believes, got this fixed belief that everybody's out to persecute him. The guy needs help. I think his fellow fighters should just refer him to the nearest mental institution. The quickest they do that, the best. Thanks. This is Teach from Albertine.
Good morning, Bongani. Good morning, team. I just want to put my 2 cents in on Julius Malema's comments. It is so clear to see that the biggest racist in this country is Julius Malema. Everything that Malema spews is about racism. And he is the biggest of them all. He does not like white people. He proclaims it every time when he is behind the mic, when he has an audience that listens to him. He is a hateful individual, and he is the clearest racist this country has ever seen. He's the worst of the worst. There's no bigger racist than Julius Malema. Thank you.
Morning, Bongani. You know, there's only a handful of politicians that know how to deal with that kind of behavior that played out yesterday at the inquiry of Palapala between Honorable Dagmo and Honorable Malema. Just raise above that. It's that simple. Don't go for a spit of spat with him. Don't try and, stoop down to his level. He's very seasoned and very skilled in that. You are obviously going to come out worse off. Just let it be. Let people see that unbecoming behavior for what it is without you contributing to it, and also you further antagonizing it and agitating it. Just let him be, and we'll see the madman for the madman if he is mad.
Yeah, but the context is withdrawing things that had been said. So it wasn't as if he was egging him on. In case you missed it, by the way, Cameron Dugmore and Julius Malema went at it yesterday in that Section 89 committee. I'm going to replay one clip where Cameron Dugmore is reminding Julius Malema, who's just called him now a racist, that, listen, I've got a long history of being involved in the struggle. In fact, I was doing these things when you were still a child. So you've got to remember who you're dealing with here. I'm not just some palooka who came out of nowhere. I've got a real history and struggle credentials, which I might add Julius Malema himself does not have.
You know, the references now to the color of my skin, etc. It's not the first time. The first time you did nothing about it as a chair. And I don't need to defend myself being in the struggle before, while Honorable Malema was still a child. And I'm not going to do that.
Honorable Malema,
Yes,
on 2 points. You had referred to Minister Nchabeni by a first name, and you do know that that's not parliamentary. I'll ask you to withdraw that. That's the first one.
I withdraw.
The second one, you had referred to Honorable Dagmo as a racist, and it's equally unparliamentary. Could you please withdraw those two statements?
But he cancelled that statement when he said I was a boy when he joined the struggle. What if his father was killing people when he was a boy? What if I make that allegation that his father was killing people when he was a boy before he joined the struggle? He said he joined the struggle before when I was a boy. What if his father was killing people when he was a boy?
Honorable Malema.
Makashile Ghana, of course, being the chair of the committee. So even if that allegation were true, how does it cancel what Dugmore was saying? To be fair to Julius Malema, he eventually withdrew the word racist after he was pressured by Ghana to do so. But Julius, being Julius, couldn't quite let it go.
Honorable Malema, could you please withdraw the first name reference of Minister Nchabeni?
I did, Chair. I said I withdraw.
All right, thanks. Can you please withdraw the reference of Honorable Dagmo as a racist?
Yeah, he's a white supremacist. I withdraw racist. I withdraw racist, but I maintain white supremacist. There's nothing unparliamentary about that.
Is there a difference between a white supremacist and a racist? You tell me.
You're with Bongani Bingwa on 702.
Taking your calls on 011-883-0702.
Anna's been on the line very patiently. Thank you for holding, Anna. We were talking earlier, of course, about valuables you've lost carelessly. You've got a story?
Yes, hello, Bongani. So it was a few weeks before I was to get married, and I was at a counter in Sandton at Stutterford's in those days, and I tried a cream, a hand cream. So I took my engagement ring off and put it on the counter, put the cream on, and yes, off. The next morning, when I was looking for my engagement ring, I noticed that it wasn't in my bathroom where I usually left it. And luckily, when I phoned the counter, the assistant, and she had kept it for me.
Oh.
So I was lucky.
and no doubt.
And it was. Yes.
I was going to say, no doubt. I mean, apart from the financial value, of course, the sentimental value for you was huge.
Yes, of course. And I was lucky. I rewarded the lady, and I was very lucky that she had kept it. She was an honest lady.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, usually these stores also have cameras and all sorts of things. So sometimes you've just got to do the right thing. But I appreciate that story, Anna in Bedfordview. Kabazela's question this morning, by the way, is talking about your commute to and from work. How far away from your place of work do you live? How much time do you spend on the road every morning or afternoon?
Good morning, Bongani. I work on specific days. I work in Hammanskraal, which is about 70 kilometers from Midrand, where I live. It takes me about an hour and 10 minutes. I enjoy the drive. It's time for me to reflect, and do some thinking. I hate the drive back, though, because I'm exhausted. I just want to get home. Ironically, on other days, I work in Joburg, and I think it takes me a bit longer to get to Joburg than it does to Hammanskraal. But the distance between my house and Johannesburg is like 40 kilometers, 35 kilometers. I'm not exactly sure, but it's closer. So sometimes the distance doesn't always equals amount of time spent on the road. Cheers, Gillian.
Hi, Bongani and team. I live in Kempton Park and work in Bryanston. It takes me about 35 minutes on a good day, sometimes 45 minutes to get to work. But I now use a back route, which just saves me a lot of time and less traffic. Evelyn from Kempton Park.
Hi, Bongani and the crew and the 702 lenders. This is Mv from Sanchuan. Regarding Kabazela's question, so I've got a job. I've just got a job whereby it's not too close to where I'm staying. It's about between 25 and 30 kilometers away, but I don't feel it at all because it's hybrid work. So I work like 2 to 3 days in the office and then the other days from home. That makes a huge difference. I don't feel it at all compared to my previous job, which was 5 days in the office. So I think if companies can consider hybrid work, it makes all the difference to your employees' overall wellness and just well-being. Thank you.
How far away do you live from your place of work? Amo, is it a long commute for you in the mornings?
Not at all. It's about 15 minutes without traffic. And
that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, but we recently moved. We used to live very far. While I appreciated the peace that came with living far because you had to tell me that you're coming to my home, spending hours on the road wasn't nice. So, yeah.
And now people just show up.
No, they don't still. But I mean, it's easier to say I'm on the way.
Give us time,
Yeah.
Give us time.
Right now.
Mateo?
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes without traffic, 13 Ks. So it's not too far from the office. Not too far. And it's always without traffic, so.
Almost always without traffic, yeah. It's 20 after 8.
Hi, Bongani and the listeners. Oh, the distance between your house and work. So when I was a bachelor, I was staying 5 minutes away from work. And then when I met my partner, now we had to find a neutral place where it will be essential for both of us. Now both of us, we are doing 44 Ks to work. That means we are doing 88 Ks daily. And it takes me an hour and a half to get to work. Traffic, especially when you join N3 from R59, it's hectic. But what we can do, we do it for the love. Beggy here in Sky City.
Good morning, Brabongza. This is Orbit, all the way from Komshanga. Brabongza, I'm doing, I must say, roughly about 210 kilometers a day, and the traffic is not an issue. So I'm staying in Komshanga. I work in Dalmas, one of the mines in Dalmas. Great show as always. Thanks.
Mr. Wongs, I travel 62 k's to work. I spend roughly 35 to 45 minutes traveling to work, but at least I get to go there only 3 times in a week because I work from home 2 days. Yeah, I don't think it's entirely true, man. As long as your pay is enough, I wouldn't mind traveling 200 kilometers to work. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same for me. Anonymous from nowhere.
Anonymous from nowhere.
EWN Traffic.
22 after 8, this EWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. That crash on the N12 West. Amo, is it a bad one?
It's a bad one in Basonia, Bongani. It happened right near Komaro Street. Delays from the Reading interchange. And unfortunately, if you're heading towards Protea Glen, another accident scene on the N12 West right near the R554. It's also causing delays from Main Road. So please do approach with care there. We'll have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance Postman can't help you remember the names of those important clients you met online, but they can get the traffic flowing smoothly so you can get to the event on time to make small talk. The Outsurance Postmen are real heroes in green and purple, easing traffic congestion for almost 21 years. Just another way you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, show them some love online. Hashtag PointsmanLove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702, The World View.
With Adam Gilchrist.
Let's catch up now with news from elsewhere in the world. Adam, we've been keeping a focus on the war against Iran by America, but my goodness, what is now happening inside the country is worrying.
And of course, we're only really getting a glimpse of it through UN data and I guess some people who sneak information out. So what we've got here is the UN Human Rights Chief, Volker Turk, talking about an alarming rise in executions in Iran. So this is over and above, for instance, the thousands of people who were killed during the January protests. Remember those? Before the war with America and Israel began. Here we have, as Volker Turk puts it, capital punishment being used to instill fear in the population and suppress dissent. And according to UN data, at least 56 people have been executed on national security related charges since the middle of March. That's over and above those who've been executed for other crimes and drugs charges and so forth. More than 100 others, according to the UN, are at risk of execution, again, over so-called security concerns. Iran is thought to be the world's second most prolific executioner of people after China, and on the rise since the war with the US began. Last year, Iran put to death 2,100 people, according to Amnesty International. Lest we forget, it is a regime, not a government.
A river reveals its Nazi secrets. Adam?
Yeah, because of the ongoing drought across Europe, river levels are especially low, revealing all sorts of interesting things. The Danube is one where it's so low at the moment, it's not quite an all-time low, but it's so low that a power plant on the Danube in Hungary has already had to be turned off. But it's also revealing dozens of Nazi battleships emerging from the riverbed. Well, they're not technically emerging because the river's going down, but you know what we're saying. So because of the drought and the heat waves, now the hulks of at least a dozen Second World War German battleships have emerged, many of them close to the Serbian-Romanian border. Bear in mind, this is a river that runs through 10 countries, including obviously Serbia and Romania, but also Germany, Austria, Hungary, Ukraine. And those ships were scuttled by the Germans trying to block the Soviet advance in 1944 to no avail, as it turned out. So the first dozen or so to appear, all rusty and creaking, are of course a danger to other shipping, but they're also thought to be laden with weapons and ammunition and could therefore still be ticking time bombs. Yeah, the Nazis are a gift that keeps on giving, aren't they?
Now, you lose something valuable. Where do you begin to look? How far would you go to get it back?
How far would you go? Would you go elbow deep into unspeakable things? So here we have a lottery player in Italy who accidentally binned a winning ticket worth €1 million, roughly 19 million Rand. think most of us would go elbow deep for something like that. The anonymous player, they'd gone to the shop with their ticket where they'd bought it in Bitonto near Bari in southern Italy. But the ticket said non-playable, which he thought meant, not worth it. But it actually meant that the prize was too big to collect in store. He had to go about it online or with a phone number, whatever. It's only when he got home he realised, or they realised, we actually don't know the sex of this person, because they use the same numbers every week. Therefore, hang on a moment, those are my numbers. Too late. The winning ticket had gone to the dump along with the rest of the rubbish from the store. Roberto Toscano's refuse company came to the fore, and they agreed they would sift through a mountain of waste. After 2 days, there it was, the €1 million needle in a haystack, minus the cost of the search. I don't know. Do you think he's charging 10% for that? It's probably worth 10% for somebody to go through it. As the old saying goes, where there's muck, there's brass.
Well, indeed. I mean, at the very least, you would expect him to invest in the removal company, or at least offer some kind of assistance, anything. For 19 million rand, yeah, absolutely, I would. Adam Gilchrist with this morning's Worldview.
EWN Business.
Of course, Mutewa, there's somebody sitting there thinking, oh, wait a minute. So are you saying to me if I play the same numbers every week, eventually, maybe one time.
Look, the odds are not in your favor. Eh?
No. There is a logical fallacy there. My mind is not clear as to what it is. I'll tell you in a moment. But in the meantime, why don't you tell us about Sasol cashing in on this war in Iran?
Yeah, Sasol says it anticipates stronger earnings for the financial year ended in June. The petrochemicals firm was supported by improved production, the higher oil prices, and stronger refining margins. Headline earnings per share, a profit measure, expected to increase by between 2 and 14%. The improved performance is driven by a 4% increase in sales volumes, the higher average oil prices, and a sharp improvement in refining margins. Lower impairment charges also boosted Sasol, the company benefiting from a 7% increase in the average per barrel Brent crude oil price, which was largely the result of the war in the Middle East.
Remember it? It's called the gambler's fallacy, right? We all think eventually it'll sort itself out. No, it doesn't, because it's a new draw every week. It doesn't remember. It doesn't say, last week I didn't draw a 5, so maybe today let's give you a 5. So, no. Heineken posting improvements in volumes despite tough consumer conditions.
Yeah, the beer maker says beverage volumes unexpectedly grew in the second quarter as strong beer demand in Asia and Africa offset persistent weakness in Europe and the Americas. The Dutch brewer says drinks sold by Heineken and its subsidiaries rose by 0.9%. And when beer sales from licensed partners are included, total organic volumes rose 1.9%. Now in South Africa, the beverage maker says it sold more Amstel, Windhoek and Sol during the period. Heineken reporting adjusted operating profit of $2.5 billion in the first half of the year. The company is in the midst of a cost-cutting drive that includes reducing about 7% of its global workforce, or around 5,000 to 6,000 roles. The brewer said on Wednesday that it already cut about 3,000 full-time employees in the first half of the year.
Your indicators?
Well, the rand at 16 rand 33, trying to gain a little bit against the dollar this morning. 18 rand 86 against the euro, and 21 rand 99 cents against the British pound. Price of gold up close to 0.5% at $4,267 an ounce, while platinum is stronger by 1% at $1,758. Brent crude at $79 a barrel. Stephen Crotis with more this afternoon.
Straight to the news desk we go, and of course we'll tell you about Main Street Sundays. It's another edition coming up this weekend. In the meantime, Sfisa Zulu, what do you have?
Bongani, good morning. We start with news just in. The Madlanga Commission has called for disciplinary action against 4 people who appeared before it, including suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibia. Embattled Sergeant Fanny Nkosi, self-proclaimed political fixer Brian Mokgotsi, and a protected witness known only as Witness G have also been singled out in the Commission's latest report, which was handed to President Cyril Ramaphosa at the end of May. The Commission says criminal charges should be pursued if investigations uncover sufficient evidence against any of them. It's also called for an urgent probe into an alleged off-the-books crime intelligence operation in which Mokgotsi and Witness G were allegedly involved in. The presidency says the latest referrals will be investigated by the SAPS Special Investigations Task Team that was set up to urgently probe individuals identified by the Commission. Presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya.
The report revisits the recommendation and referrals made in the first interim report in respect of the South African Police Service based on prima facie evidence, and with one exception, confirms these recommendations now that the relevant implicated parties have appeared before the Commission to give evidence. The report also sets out new recommendations and referrals made by the Commission on the basis of evidence heard since the start of 2026.
Trade Union Federation COSATU says the livelihoods of nearly 6,000 workers are at risk due to the proposed closure of Premier Foods plant in Talberg. The company has confirmed it has entered retrenchment consultations with affected workers, saying the fruit products Western Cape plant is no longer economically sustainable. COSATU says it will oppose the decision, warning that it may be forced to organize mass protests and seek an urgent court interdict to halt the process. Camray Clark reports.
In a statement, COSATU says the proposed closure of Premier Foods fruit products Western Cape plant in Tilbach threatens the livelihoods of about 5,700 workers and producers. It also claims that Premier Foods has indicated that it will not honour existing 3-year supply contracts with producers, which in turn leaves them stranded with fruit for the upcoming season. COSATU has also condemned reports that CEO Kobus Gartenbach is set to receive a 17.4 million rand bonus. The Union Federation's Malvin de Bruin.
It's an absolute disgrace that Premier Foods can reward its CEO with a 17.4 million rand bonus while simultaneously throwing thousands of workers and their families on the street.
Premier Foods has not commented on the reports of the alleged bonus, but says it remains hopeful of a positive outcome for the broader value chain, despite the industry's ongoing challenges. Camray Clark, Eyewitness News.
A Mpumalanga police officer is in hot water after being identified in a viral social media video assaulting a woman inside a police station. Provincial Police Management says it has launched internal disciplinary proceedings describing the officer's conduct as unacceptable, unlawful and in direct conflict with the service's code of conduct. Police spokesperson Mavela Masondo has urged the woman seen in the video to open a criminal case so that the matter can be formally investigated.
Police officers have their responsibility to protect lives, uphold the law, and serve with the integrity and professionalism. The SAPS remains committed to the fight against gender-based violence and femicide and assures the public that the law will take its course without fear or favor.
And the NPA has frozen more than 6.2 million rand allegedly linked to an illegal multi-choice streaming operation in the Eastern Cape. The preservation order granted by the Gqeberha High Court seeks to recover the money allegedly stolen by Damon Grandling. Police say he allegedly distributed copyright multi-choice content to paying subscribers who were charged about 160 rand a month for access. Mongezi Koko reports.
The preservation order targets the alleged proceeds of the cyber-enabled piracy rather than Grandling himself, who has not been arrested or charged. Investigators identified more than 104,000 multi-choice related transactions between January last year and April this year before taking action. Eastern Cape NPA spokesperson Luxolo Kyali.
The matter involves Mr. Damian Grandling, who has neither been arrested nor charged, as the criminal investigation is still ongoing.
If the High Court later grants a forfeiture order, the money will be paid into the Criminal Assets Recovery Account to support law enforcement initiatives. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 23 and 25 degrees.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N12 West in Eldorado Park. That's due to an accident right near the R554, causing delays from Main Road. While traveling on the Mike 1 South, we've got delays between Greyston Drive and College Drive.
The breaking story this hour, the Madanga Commission has called for disciplinary action against 4 people who appeared before it, including suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibia.
The Midday Report. Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
How do you think is the justification in suggesting that it's just not as good as the men's game is and we shouldn't be supporting it as much?
I think CAF has really put in some big building blocks to make sure that the women's game is where it is. But I think the spillage from the men's AFCON, to be honest, that really impacted just the preparations of the women's tournament. And therefore, it just looks like the players are not giving so much quality. But if there's no stadium attendances, that's the LOC. They should be in charge of mobilizing fans to come and support.
The Midday Report
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Looking for secure, modern apartment living in the heart of Johannesburg? Welcome to Jewel City, owned and managed by Itemba Property Management, part of the Diversity Group. This vibrant residential precinct in the Joburg CBD offers quality rental apartments designed for comfortable city living. Choose from a range of well-maintained apartments with convenient access to shops, transport routes, and everything you need close to home. At Jewel City, safety is a priority. The precinct features controlled access, 24-hour security, CCTV monitoring, and visible security teams throughout the neighborhood, helping residents feel more confident as they move around day or night. Discover Jewel City and find your next home with Itemba Property Management. Visit jewelcity.co.za or itembaproperty.co.za for more info.
You know that feeling of getting rewarded twice? Like when it's Friday and payday? That feeling doesn't have to end. Because with Absa Rewards and Shell V Plus Rewards, you're always earning ngapha na ngapha. Every time you fill up at Shell, you get up to 30% real cash back with Absa Rewards. Plus, up to 50 cents per litre on fuel spend. Simply pay with your Absa card, tap or scan your V Plus Rewards, and get rewarded twice depending on your rewards tier. T's and C's apply.
Scholar Transport drivers, every winter morning, our children depend on you to get them to school safely. But overloaded vehicles and rushing against time puts lives at risk. Remember, our children are not cargo. Overloading reduces your ability to stop on wet or icy roads. Drive responsibly, arrive safely, protect every child, every trip. This message is brought to you by the National Department of Transport.
This is 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Brought to you by BCX. Built on trusted connectivity. Powered by cloud. Strengthened by security. Enabled by AI.
Hi, good morning, Bongs. Regarding the media industry facing widespread job cuts, the social media is taking over. I mean, we all rely on our handheld devices to give us updates on current affairs. Me, for one, I rely on TikTok, which has news channels on there which go live, and on any occasion, whenever something is happening, there's a live stream where you can see things that happen currently at your fingertips. So that's where we're heading. Fourth Industrial Revolution, here we are.
Good morning, Uncle Bongs. Bassi here from Johannesburg. I just wanted to talk about the job risk of journalists and these big media houses. How do you think platforms such as TikTok and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts has had an impact on journalism? For example, I am 27 years old and not a lot of my friends listen to the radio, but I do because I love your show. But let me know your thoughts.
So, I mean, as Tilly explained it, essentially what happens is traditionally advertisers would spend some of their budget paying for ad space on television, in newspapers, on radio stations, much like this one, because they knew that's where the consumers of news and information would be found. Now, many of those people are also on social media platforms, but of course, because people are watching and consuming news from around the world, it makes sense for advertisers to spend money there. But unlike a 702 or an ENCA or a News 24, Meta doesn't spend a red cent on producing the content for which advertisers pay. We all do as the people on those platforms. So even if traditional media are also on those platforms, they still spend money to produce that content. Meta waits for you to post a video and they go, thank you very much. And advertisers spend money because they know you are there and someone is consuming that content. And so that's how it works. And it means traditional media are increasingly getting left in the dust. The more of us who consume news and information through social media, that's the stark reality.
EWN Sport.
Cindy Paluta, let's talk about rugby now. This important, this is going to be one of those historic ones, is it not?
Yeah.
The All Blacks versus the Springboks. We'll talk about some of the games that we are going to watch for years to come, but there's some preparation before it all happens.
Yeah, so part of the greatest rivalry tour is the All Blacks are going to play they're going to play against South African provincial sides, and that starts at the Stormers on Friday. And the Stormers, of course, then naming their strongest possible team to face the All Blacks. 5 internationally capped players are on the side, including Warwick Gelant, Evan Roos and Dion Fourie. Great excitement around the halfback pairing, the junior buck fly half, Yakin Ahmed and Imad Khan. The All Blacks will be led by Patrick Tuapalato and have Bowden Barrett starting as well. Coach Dave Rennie.
We're touring the country that holds the World Cup the last couple of times. It's a proud rugby nation. We have a lot of our players who haven't played a lot of footy in South Africa. Yeah, it's a massive challenge, but it's exciting. We're going to play strong sides. I'd say reasonably hostile crowds and challenging environments.
Springboks are preparing to face Argentina on Saturday in Buenos Aires. Kobus Visser on what it means to have played alongside his brother Jasper.
Me and Jasper and I believe our whole family is immensely proud. I think, doing it once is special, but if we have the privilege and we both stay fit and injury-free and we can do it a few more times, that'll be gold for us. So, no, immensely proud, or to share a Springbok jersey with my brother. Actually still a bit lost for words in terms of how proud and grateful we are.
At WAFCON, Malawi and Nigeria through to the quarterfinals and goal difference. Even though Malawi lost to Zambia 2-1 last night, while Nigeria thrashed Egypt 6-2. Gianni Infantino clings to his FIFA presidency after management voted in his favour after he faced calls to resign for initiating a private investor World Cup sale proposal. Arsenal's close to completing the signing of Newcastle captain Bruno Guimaraes. Last night, Arsenal lost to Real Betis 3-1 in a pre-season friendly, while Newcastle's new manager Matthias Geisel's first game in charge is Saturday against Valencia. He signed a 4-year deal. And Live Golf in New York this weekend, where Louis Oosthuizen's still injured and out. He's been replaced by Martin Forster. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
A final traffic update for the morning, 16 before 9. We've seen lots of issues on the roads this morning, but perhaps let's start with an update on that N12 West crash. You said it was a bad one.
It was indeed, Bongani. It's been cleared. This is just as you approach the Kamaru Crossing Shopping Centre, but unfortunately the one in El Dorado Park is still there, right near the R554, causing delays. So please be on the lookout there, especially if you're heading towards Protea Glen. If you are travelling on the Mark 1 South, we've got delays between Grayston Drive and College Drive. There's also still moving traffic along the N1 North, heading towards the city of Tshwane through Midrand. Roadworks are causing these delays approaching Allendale Road. I'll have more updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Looking for your next car? From affordable to fuel efficient or spacious, WeBuyCars has the right option for you. Browse over 15,000 vehicles on webuycars.co.za or visit one of their 20 branches nationwide. Plus, they offer finance solutions, insurance, warranties, and more for total peace of mind. Thinking of selling your car? Get an instant offer on webuycars.co.za.
Peregrine Capital presents Brian Habana's Count to 100.
In my journey to 100, it started with my first cap, then my second, 10th, 50th, 90th, 99th.
Brian Habana, his 100th international test.
You get to 100 one decision at a time. For 28 years, Peregrine Capital has applied that same discipline to turn 1 million rand into 100 million. Peregrine Capital. Invest in performance. An authorized FSP. Past performance not indicative of future performance. T's and C's apply.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports. No more disconnected systems. No more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on iStratGo.com. ISTRATGO.com.
Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Clement Manyatela, of course, on your radio between 9 and 12. And he joins us now to tell us what's happening on the show this Thursday. Good morning, Clement.
Good morning. So we're going to start with the statement that the president released not so long ago regarding the interim report, the second interim report from the Madlanga Commission. So that statement from the presidency indicates that there are recommendations that have been made by the commission for disciplinary hearing and for some criminal proceedings to start against General Shadrack Sibiya, Brown Mokhotsi, Sergeant Fanning Nkosi, and Witness G. So we're going to talk about that because there are certain people that are not on this list, and I'm sure people are wondering, okay, but where is Hangwani? Where is Firoz Khan or Andrea Johnson? But remember, the interim report was only submitted, it's the second one in May. This is before the revelations about Khan and Andrea Johnson. So I have no doubt their names will appear in the second report. So that's where we'll start the show on the open line this morning. But at 10 o'clock, we're going to do our Hanging Out feature. And today we're hanging out with award-winning artist Zama Jobe. And then at 11 o'clock, we do our Thursday dialogue. Today we're discussing the NSFAS stabilization plan. The administrator has now sent their stabilization plan to the Minister of Higher Education. So we'll look at what it says and whether it is the plan that can rescue NSFAS.
Clement Manyatela between 9 and 12.
Smart business moves mean more cash flow. Switch to Outsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Here's Dr. Fahim from Matrix Dental.
We were with our previous insurers for many years prior to the switch. We found that Outsurance really understood our business needs. We are happy with our premiums. I wish we had switched sooner.
Get a quote to switch and save today. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 0600 60,000. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Hi, this is Carol Shabalala, Hollywood Bets brand ambassador. It's more fun when it's for fun. Playing responsibly is always a winning strategy. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counseling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
You're listening to 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Brought to you by BCX. Technology that helps organizations move forward.
Good morning, Bongani and 702. This is Tapiwa from Pretoria. Regarding losing valuables, just yesterday, I wanted to buy some takeaways for my son. And I literally left my phone on the shop counter. I only realized that I left my phone on the shop counter when a lady who came into the shop after me, like 5 minutes or so after me, came out and approached me and asked me, Abuti, asifonia how because kwena fela kubona utong mo shopong. So yeah, I was speechless. I would never have thought that I could literally just leave my phone like that and not even remember that I should have a phone.
Morning, Bongani and the listeners. Yo, Bongani, I once left 300 rand at an ATM. It was an Absa ATM at Tramshed. I'll never forget. The irony here is that I was broke. I guess when you're broke and stressed, you do those kind of things. So, the card comes out first. So I was thinking, okay, I'm done with the transaction. Continue. So just when I'm supposed to pay, I think it was an Uber. And I thought, okay, let me give him cash. Money was nowhere. And I was like, damn it. I left that money at an ATM. Who does that? Yo. Then when you tell people, they're like, you have money to play with. Victoria from Pretoria.
We were talking a little earlier on about losing valuables, losing them carelessly. I've lost a phone very many years ago. I think it was a Nokia 2010 or something of that sort. I was washing my hands in a public bathroom And then for some or other reason, I needed to go back into the little stall, and I went into the little stall, and then I came out again, and of course the phone was long gone by then. It all comes from the story from Adam Gilchrist of a guy who lost a lotto ticket in Europe. The prize was €1 million. You do the maths, probably about 21 million rand or thereabouts. And when he went back to where he had thrown it away, the rubbish had already been collected. He had to track the rubbish company, ask them to help him dig through mounds of rubbish. But the ticket was found intact. And that's why we were talking about that.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
When was the last time you walked through the Johannesburg CBD? What's the vibe you expect when you are in Johannesburg? For many of you, of course, who were with us in the 702 Jozi, My Jozi Walk the Talk, the sense of a vibrant city came back to you, didn't it? I'm not talking about just being in the CBD, rushing to catch a taxi, sitting in traffic. I'm talking about taking in the sights, the sounds, the energy of the city. Well, this Women's Day, Main Street in Marshalltown is going to be closed to vehicles and open to the people. Main Street Sundays returns. It's free. It's family friendly. You'll be able to walk, cycle, skate, enjoy live music. There'll be art. There'll be food. Local businesses thriving, all the while experiencing a different side of Johannesburg. The idea is simple. Let's slow things down. Bring people back into the CBD. Remind us that in fact our streets are public spaces meant to be enjoyed by everyone. And it's an event like this can really change the way people think about their city. Come join us for Main Street Sundays this Sunday. Dawn Robertson, of course, is a creative economy catalyst. We've spoken to her before. She does this work for Jozi, My Jozi, and joins us now on the line. Dawn, a very good morning to you. Have I said it right? Have I set the mood right?
Bongani, good morning. I couldn't have said it better. That was an amazing introduction. If people don't come after that, then I don't know.
Then we don't know, right? We don't know. So listen, I think the last time we tried to do a Main Street Sunday, the weather was so bad we had to cancel. No chance of that this weekend. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. But for anybody who's hearing about this for the first time, what have they missed before and what can they expect upon arrival?
Well, Main Street Sundays this week began better than it was last time. So we've extended our reach. So we're going all the way now from Gandhi Square down to 44 Main Street, Tembipalisa Street. On Gandhi Square, we've moved our skateboarders up there, our rollerbladers. They're going to be teaching young kids to skate. They've got professionals doing demonstrations. And we're very excited to introduce a thrift market up on Gandhi Square as well, besides our curated makers market, which is further down Main Street. So, yeah, the reach is extended. We've got our art and design activations. We've got a pop-up gallery. One of our property developers in the area has given us a vacant building that we're turning into a pop-up shop, a pop-up gallery for 12 different artists. We're also auctioning. This is an interesting one. Not auctioning, selling. For almost next to nothing, artworks that were donated to Jozi, My Jozi, that we want to sell to people and to feed that money back into the work we do in the art space.
Wow.
If you're interested in that, some amazing works and really, really affordable for the man in the street to purchase. And then Standard Bank are opening up the gallery. And I don't know if you recall, they had over 800 people visiting the Standard Bank gallery for the homecoming exhibition last Main Street Sundays. We're hoping to break that record. And that's the homecoming exhibition, all these amazing artworks that have returned that belong to the JAG. So lots and lots of art activities. We're so excited about our kids zone. We never expected the kids zone to go to that extent. It's anchored by Play Africa, and if you know Play Africa, the children's museum, they do absolutely amazing things, and they're joined by about 9 to 10 other organizations that do stuff with kids. We've got old-fashioned street games in the street, tic-tac-toe, we've got Jenga, board games. It's just about people getting out into the street, exploring the street.
And just having, and I think, hold on, Dawn, I think part of what's going to be fun about it is you can keep coming. You might not be able to go through all of the Main Street Sunday offerings this time around, but the point is you can make this a regular event in your calendar to make sure you keep coming, and the next time you can try something a little different. So the art is certainly going to be a very big selling point. Let's just talk though about some of the practicalities. Obviously, as I said in my introduction, some of the CBD streets will be closed to allow all of this to happen. So how do you suggest or advise people to get there? Where would they need to park? How would all of that work?
So if you insist on driving in, and we'd like to encourage you not to drive in, but if you insist on driving in, the Standard Bank parking is completely available. And you can go onto our website and see where to park there. We also partnered with the Gautrain, so you can park at your local Gautrain station, R1 for parking, catch the train. When you get to Park Station, they will then have vehicles to ferry you to Main Street, and this will be a rotating service throughout the day. And then you could also Uber into one of the endpoints, either Gandhi Square or Tembe Paliso Main Street intersection. And you can bring a picnic basket, but we've added food trucks to the offering because one of the feedback we got from the last one was that the restaurants didn't cope. So now we've got some great food trucks that will be joining us, some healthy offerings as well, and lots of activities that are geared towards women. It's Women's Day, and we really want to see how we celebrate women at Main Street Sundays this Sunday.
Well, Main Street Sundays. It's happening between 10 o'clock in the morning and 5 p.m. If you want more details, you can also go to josiemyjosie.com. You can send an email, contact us at josiemyjosie.com. And I think, do we follow Josie My Josie on your socials in terms of all the finer details around where to Uber to, how to get to
socials are the
parking
best
details?
Place. Yeah. Register on Luma. It's free. But what that does is it allows us to send you updates. And maybe, Bongani, just one last thing. Do you remember Joe that walked with you on Walk the Talk?
Yes.
Well, Joe's coming to Main Street Sundays. He's been reprogrammed to be your partner at Main Street Sundays, tell you where to get the best burger, where the activities are happening. So if you haven't downloaded Joe from ChatGPT, download it and take Joe along with you as your companion to Main Street Sundays this Sunday.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Dawn Robertson is the creative economy catalyst at Josie My Josie.
702.
More than a radio station.
Let's walk the talk.
Girl, rock with it, girl. Show them it, girl. With a bang bang. Bounce with it, girl. Dance with it, girl. Get with it, girl. With a bang bang.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Friday night and I won't be long. Gotta do my hair, put my makeup on. It's Friday night and I won't be long till I hit the guns now. Hit the guns now. I got all I need. No, I ain't got cash, but I got you, baby.
Just you
Baby,
and me.
I don't need dollar bills to have fun tonight. Baby, I don't need dollar bills to have fun tonight. I don't need no money.
You ain't more than diamond, more than gold.
As long as I can feel the beat.
Make the beat just take control.
I don't need no money.
Oh, look at the time. It's 9 o'clock. 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa is brought to you by BCX, connecting cloud, telecom business connectivity, AI, and more to help organizations reduce complexity, improve resilience, and unlock opportunities.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. It's the breaking story this morning. The Matlanga Commission has recommended Sergeant Faninkosi, self-proclaimed political fixer Brown Mohotsi, and protected witness known only as Witness G have also been singled out in the Commission's latest report, which was handed to